I went to the reception at the hotel and complained, and they said, they noticed that the internet kept dropping. Doesn't usually happen. And today they said, internet seems stable. So here we are. We will see if the gods of the internet, at least at this hotel, actually support that. Today, I went down south in Israel to Sderot. Sderot is the largest town in what's called in the vicinity of Gaza. So one wrong turn would have been right in Gaza. Lots of military blockades that couldn't happen. But it was a little eerie, I have to admit, to be in a town where Hamas and the Palestinians, the Gazans, were in during October 7th, where they committed some of their murders. And with people, some of which, there was a bunch of young people there who lived through September 7th. There was a conference, the Freedom Conference. It's held annually every year in Israel. I've attended a number of them, spoken at a number of them over the many years. It is a conference of what you call classical liberals in Israel. Some quite a few objectivists, but also a variety of different conservatives, small libertarians, maybe there's big libertarians, I'm not sure. So the smaller libertarians, religious, secular, but generally people who believe in separation of church and state, economic freedom, and a strong Israeli military, again, with some disagreements and some variations. I recorded 3 podcasts there with 3 different podcast hosts, which was a lot of fun. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. One of the podcasts, kind of funnily enough, one of the podcasts was, the whole thing was just about Michael Milken. It's an Israeli
I don't get it. This is 9:22, but today is 9:23, so this is from yesterday. So he just released it. So it's yesterday's news. And it didn't. He ended up dropping it.
Who does economic and financial history, and he likes to talk about economic and financial history. And he heard me talk about Milken on this podcast on a number of occasions. And said,
forget it.
So far today, Israel has bombed Lebanon over 800 times, according to reports. Targets further afield than usual, not just near the border, Beirut and beyond, and also apparently killed the number 3 terrorist in Hezbollah. I don't know if it's the person who was number 3 as of today, or was number 3 and then number 2 and now is not a number anymore. But anyway, Israel is stepping up its military operations in Lebanon in what is the sort of most severe military operation today on Israel's part in Lebanon since 2006 and that war. And according to a spokesperson for the Lebanese government, the deadliest day for Lebanese civilians since the end of the civil war, which ended in 1990. Now, what they define as civilians, I assume, includes terrorists, but according to reports, nearly 300 people died. We don't know how accurate those reports are, but it's not Hamas, the Gaza Health Ministry numbers that are just made up. It is more likely to be accurate or closer to accurate. Just proof of that is that the number is less than 300 after hundreds of bombings by Israel throughout the day. If they were Hamas, they would have made a number that was in the very high thousands at the very least. So why did we go ahead with a title for an episode that we decided on a few days ago, by the way? War in Lebanon, Israel has already surrendered. Clearly, Israel is not surrendering militarily; it's still fighting. It's fighting stronger than it has fought since Hezbollah started its daily attacks on Israel on October 8th of last year. And so why the headline, and why do we stand by that statement? Because look at Israel's official statements. First of all, they're very careful to even fully say this is a war. And when they do say it is a war, they say the stated goal is to have the citizens, the Israeli citizens living in the north of Israel, be able to go back to their home safely. An absolutely worthy goal worthy of going to war for. And one thing that you hear a lot from Israeli officials recently is they bring up UN Security Council Resolution 1701, which calls for Hezbollah to not cross the Litani River from in Lebanon, which is 29 kilometers to the north of the border between Lebanon and Israel. Now, today Hezbollah's attacks went far beyond 29 kilometers. It's not that they can only shoot that far. So they can shoot from behind the Litani River into Israel, into almost all of Israel. I don't know if almost all, but certainly into where most of the population of Israel is. And so even the strongest demands of Israel are not demands that would eliminate the ability of Hezbollah to kill Israelis. It's just to get them not to currently continue firing rockets and bombs. This is what Israel keeps doing with the Palestinians, with Lebanon, with the Iran and all of Iran's proxies. It's let's de-escalate. Let's not have this happen now. And as we always say, they might agree. Hamas might agree. Hamas will certainly agree to a ceasefire. Hezbollah might agree. Iran might agree to de-escalate now. They're not going to agree to never again do this. What they're going to agree to is to not fire any rockets now and save it to a day where their victory would be certain, or at least the damage they can cause to Israel in terms of lost lives on Israel's side would be much greater. So yeah, Israel is in effect surrendering when it does not state a clear goal that the organization Hezbollah with all its terrorists will not exist, and that is the day when this war will end. Welcome to the Daily Objective. We are continuing our commentary on Israel's war on many fronts by the savages that surround it, and our more recent commentaries, of course, on the northern front with Lebanon. I'm joined by James Valiant. James, your thoughts on what Israel is doing today and what that means for the war in general?
Well, when the pagers exploded, my thought was, good start.
Very sad that these people are like into economics, but when there is a reason to go to war, that's all they talk about. They don't talk about the long-term solution in economics. Indeed, their long-term solution is war. So I don't have anything specific against war. I mean, when you have to go to war, you go to war. I mean, sometimes you don't have a choice. But in the long run, you need to think, what is the cause of war? Why do people hate you? And and deal with that, fix that. So, in general, my belief is that people hate you because they're jealous, because you have and they don't. It's because they are poor. It's because the Middle East is poor. As long as the Middle East will be poor, the Middle East will be jealous of the rich, and the rich is, Israel. Israel is not rich, but it is richer than the rest of the Middle East by far. Now, Israel is by far poorer than Europe, and Europe is by far poorer than the US, and even the US is pretty much by far poorer than, I think, on average, Singapore. Singapore has doubled the wealth per person than the US. So, and then you have even wealthier places, but so that's it. Now, these people just forget about this reason. But there is a reason for the hatred and for the violence. And they don't talk about it. They don't even analyze it. They never bring it up. Never. It's just urgently, we have an enemy that's trying to hurt us. We need to hurt them so that they don't hurt us. That's fine as an urgent response. But in the long term, you have to think about, why is there violence in the universe? And that's what you have to deal with. But first, you have to analyze it. Analyze the hate. Why do people hate Jews? Well, it's because Jews are very successful. Jews are very wealthy. Jews are always very famous, are always in high places. Everywhere in the world, Jews are always in leadership, they're in the elite. So everyone hates Jews. Everyone is jealous of Jews. So that's at the heart of the hatred of Israel. And that's what you have to deal with. You have to tell everyone, listen, we've done the analysis. You don't hate us. You're just poor. Poor people are just jealous. You're just jealous, and that's fine. Let us help you become even wealthier than we are. It's really very easy. It's very easy to make people wealthy. We know how to do that. It's called economic freedom. Just tell people, just have economists get on stage and one after the other explain how to make the world wealthier through economic freedom. But they don't talk about it. All they talk about, Israel is not killing enough. It's fine to kill. It's fine. I don't have a problem. The last person to worry about killing. Everybody ends up dying, and I'm not a vegan. I eat animals. It's okay to kill. But in the long term, we all want to have a good life. In order to have a good life, we need to learn to live together. Live together, we need to all be wealthy. Otherwise, we're going to try and kill each other.
You disrupt their communications, you hit their leadership, and that is a good opening move in an escalation. And what has happened is an escalation on Israel's part. But given international opinion, Israel cannot admit that it's an escalation, nor can they really follow through on the kind of escalation that would put this conflict to bed.
This is just putting out fires. Right now, you have a fire, you have to put out the fire. But in general, why do you have a fire? You need to deal with the ultimate cause and fix that.
And so it's a strange kind of Alice in Wonderland world in which they engage in what is clearly an escalation. You've got the entire West now on the edge of worrying that Israel and Lebanon.
Oh, this is boring.
Nice big capital letters. This is what's going on.
Progress.
Fantastic. All right. So welcome, everyone. We're happy to have Tim Palmer give us our Institute for Quantum Studies seminar this week remotely.
Oh, that's notifying.
All right, time for another draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com, also video presentation.
The whole problem is that God is holding all.
El primer inciso les dice F integrable, sí solo sí, valor absoluto de F es integrable. Acuérdense que la barrita nada más quiere decir que puede tener valores extendidos. Entonces, vemos que si F es integrable.
I love it when you have hot teachers, but she's not that hot. She's hottish. Not the perfect tushy. It's okay. I mean, she's borderline bangable. But since she knows math, that makes it just a little bit more interesting. Plus, she speaks Spanish. That's nice. But this is not simple. She's not doing anything simple. And this is pretty advanced math. I was thinking this is just normal integrals. No. This is advanced stuff. I actually have no idea what she's doing. Wow. I definitely need to bang her. Unquestionably.
Hi guys, it's Cheyenne, and today I'm going to be giving you an introduction into nuclear physics. Let's review our current model of the atom. We have our nucleus in the center. Hi guys, it's Cheyenne, and today I'm going to be giving you an introduction into nuclear physics. Let's review our current model of the atom.
She's so pretty.
We have our nucleus in the center with orbitals surrounding.
1 second, let me go get. I forgot something. I have to go get it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so really what I wanted to do, I need to get back to my reviews of this lecture series, not her. Maybe we will listen just a little bit to her.
Orbitals, we have electrons, and in the nucleus, we have protons and neutrons. If you're unfamiliar with what an orbital is, they are regions around the nucleus where there's a greater than 90% chance of finding an electron there. We cannot say that there's a 100% chance of finding an electron because of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which states that if we know everything about a particle's position, we know nothing about its momentum. Electrons have both wave and particle-like properties at all times, so we cannot be 100% sure about one or the other. So inside the nucleus, there are protons and neutrons are made up of elementary particles called quarks. Quarks are fundamental elementary particles, meaning that they cannot be broken down into any smaller particles. So there are 6 different types or flavors of quarks: up, down, top, bottom, strange, and charm. Quarks are also described in terms of quantum color chromodynamics. Quantum color chromodynamics assigns each quark a color: red, blue, or green. This does not actually mean that the quarks are this color, but rather assigns them a charge. Instead of positive and negative, there are 3: red, blue, and green. When you put a red, blue, and green quark together, you get the color white, which just represents that the particle that
Okay, this is
1 up and 2 down quarks makes up a neutron, and 1 down
useless.
Societal evolution.
Welcome back to Lockdown Math. Today we are going to be talking about...
Okay. Let's get back to... wait, we never checked. Did we check our audio? We need to check our audio. Never checked. Did we check our audio? We need to check our audio. That's fine. In comments, notifications, the company could be the biggest winner of the EV transition. Okay. Very interesting. Let's get back to... Oh, Laplace equation. Wow, I need to learn that. Oh, Yaron is going to be doing it very soon. Yeah. Mars Starship scam. How is Starship a scam? How do people believe Starship?
Welcome back to the channel. So Guys, we got to talk about Elon. He says he's going to Mars, and I gave you my opinion last video, but now we're going to do the wife test. And
How could such a hot chick be such an idiot to think that that Starship is a scam? Starship?
if you're curious what the wife test is you know, when you want to go buy a new TV, you want to buy a new car, you want to buy a new robot. It happens sometimes. There's robots out in this world. You got to pass it by the wife too, right? And so, like in this situation,
How could such an idiot have such a hot wife? If you think Starship is a scam, like what creature are you? It's like I don't know how. Who is she?
Anything. I'm not angry. But on some of my older videos, I have seen some comments that were left behind by people, both in English and Russian. And just to let you know, if you are leaving comments in Russian, I do not need a translator. I can read every single word that you are writing, and I understand it. And I understand how it's coming out to be because I understand Russian. So I will say some of the comments were ignorant, I would say. But again, I'm not angry or anything, but I do want to address what some of you people are saying. And that is regarding the fact that some of you are unhappy that my child is half Asian. So some of the comments were saying, oh, I like you, but I don't like that you married an Asian guy. Some other comments were saying,
that's ridiculous. Okay, we need to get back to the lecture series that I started doing. Let me let's go to my channel. Let's go to my live. Wait, in the home. What is YouTube promoting right now? Oh, this is it. Yeah, I wanted to do the second lecture of this one. Okay, so let's go to this one.
And then E, and then
let's copy this and actually search for that. Search.
Welcome to Quantum Mechanics 1.
This one.
Welcome to Quantum Mechanics 1, Birth of the...
So now we need to find part B, the playlist. We need the playlist. So we did one. I did want to do one more thing, and that is analyze or derive myself the Boltzmann-Maxwell distribution. This guy, the Boltzmann-Maxwell distribution. I wanted to take a look at that, where that comes from. So, is this from today? I guess. So what I want to do is do the Boltzmann-Maxwell distribution. This guy. So I don't think they derive it. I don't think they derive it. I want to see a distribution derivation. Let's do a derivation from first principles. So 5-minute derivation. Let's check it out.
Before the era of quantum mechanics, famous scientists such as Maxwell, Boltzmann, Gibbs applied statistical methods with the help of classical physics. Here, particles, although physically identical, are treated as distinguishable because their position and velocity are assumed to be traceable. This means their trajectory over time is deterministic, thus allowing us to effectively label each particle, like how I do it here with the different colors. In this video, we will derive this classical statistical distribution law, or the probability of how classical particles distribute across different energy levels of different degeneracies, using the result of the system multiplicity we derived in previous videos, with link in the description. The total multiplicity M of our classical system of distinguishable particles.
Oh, he's using something from a previous lecture. That's not good. What about this guy?
Welcome back. Now we move to lecture 5, and this is the first lecture on a series of lectures where we'll be talking about the kinetic theory of gas. So kinetic theory of gas is essentially understanding the distribution of velocity and understanding how those properties...
I can't listen to that because only the right ear is recorded. 12 minutes. Lecture 4, concept 12, deriving the Boltzmann distribution general case. Let's give it.
This is not very hard to derive, surprisingly. I know that I might have hinted that it would be, but I wanted you to have a gut feeling what we're aiming for before we try to derive it. This is not very hard to derive, surprisingly. I know that I might have hinted that it would be, but I wanted you to have a gut feeling what we're aiming for before we try to derive it. You might find this hard, but in that case, watch this concept 2 or 3 times. The math here is not hard, but I think what some of you find hard is that we don't really have anything to start from. We have to define things from scratch and then derive something based on our definitions. But you know what? You're allowed to do any definitions. And when I do definitions, I occasionally go wrong. I can't go wrong here, or I could, but it would be stupid in terms of didactics. But don't worry if you go wrong. Spend an hour on it and throw it in the paper and start over. But I'm not going to be throwing things away. I'm going to start by defining something. And as a physicist, if I want to think of something, we need to define a system, right? So I'm going to start by defining a large system. And this large system could be the universe or something. And I'm going to say that the total energy in my large system is E0, which for this system is constant. It doesn't change.
His English is very difficult to understand. He's probably Swiss or something.
But then I will look at the small system, where I say that I have an energy epsilon. Now, what I'm interested in is how likely is it for this small system to have the energy epsilon? And the small system might be, for instance, how likely is it for the pen to be?
So I don't know what's going on here. There's a small system. Anyway, this is impossible to understand. His English is impossible. Okay, this is derived Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution of molecular speed. 4 pi. Is it so complicated? Let's see.
Hello everyone again and welcome to this particular video, and in here we're going to be exploring the Maxwell distribution of speeds. And take note here that we'll be diving more into these and many more types of chemistry involving physical chemistry, organic chemistry, science, mathematics.
Impossible to understand. Thermodynamic statistical Boltzmann distribution derivation.
Hello. In this video, we are going to derive the Boltzmann distribution using the principles of statistical thermodynamics. Let's take n identical systems. So our capital N here is the number of systems. And these systems have the property that each of them is identical. They have the exact same volume and they have the same number of molecules. And these systems are arranged in such a way that the molecules cannot escape from the individual system, but we do have flow of energy from one system to the other through these walls. So they are identical, they're distinguishable, so we can say this is the first system, this is the second system, third system, for example. So we can distinguish the systems. Each system is otherwise identical in having the exact same volume and the same number of molecules inside it, but we are allowed to have energy flow from one system to the next.
Okay, so these are, each one is a system here, 1, 2, 3. Each system has a number of molecules. There's n number of systems. I don't know how many number of molecules, but the identical number of molecules in each and identical amount of energy in each. But they can't transfer energy from one to the other, but I don't know if they can skip over. I didn't get that.
So we call this collection of n systems that are identical but distinguishable.
N number of systems, identical but distinguishable, same volume, same number of molecules, canonical ensemble.
Each of which has the same volume, the same number of molecules, and we can have energy flow between the systems. We call this collection.
Energy can flow between the system, but between adjacent or even non-adjacent? Wait a minute, somebody's talking. Amber. I'm writing down some UPOs if you want to talk about them with me later. They're not all debatable, but they are very discussable. Okay, I will finish this topic. First, I'm doing Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution derivation, and then we can talk. Okay, let's put the Maxwell-Boltzmann derivation.
A canonical ensemble. In statistical thermodynamics, there are a number of different and important ensembles, and this is the first one that we're going to investigate, the canonical ensemble. Since energy is free to flow between the systems.
So this ensemble is called the canonical ensemble. I guess it's reused. It's like a thought experiment, I guess, that is reused again and again in thermodynamics.
All the systems will not have the exact same energy. They will have different energy levels.
This is the Boltzmann distribution, or this is the Boltzmann-Maxwell distribution? I think it's the Boltzmann-Maxwell distribution.
So we need to keep track of how many of these systems have a particular energy. So we're going to use the symbol of a small n. We're going to write it with a different color.
That's exactly the question. How many systems have a certain amount of energy? Okay.
just to avoid confusing ourselves with the capital N in purple, which is the total number of systems. So n sub 1, the small n, is the number of these systems that have the energy level, the first energy level. Then
Okay, so n sub 1 is the number of systems that have the one energy.
Number of systems. So n sub 1, the small n, is the number of these systems that have the energy level, the first energy level. Then as we might expect, n sub 2 is the number of systems.
N sub 2 is the number of systems that have the second energy level.
Systems that have energy level 2, and just kind of show us, then n sub 3 is the number of these systems that have the third energy level. So notice we add up all of these number of states that we have.
So N1, N2, N3 altogether should be capital N.
Starting from the very first energy level, going up to however many there are. So if we add up n
to capital N of Ni
sub j,
N sub j is equal to capital N.
This total has to equal our capital N, because each of these particular systems has to be in some particular energy level when we add up
one second. This is a little confusing, actually. So you're summing up N1, N2, N3 to what number? Right? This is the number of energy levels. This is not capital N. At the top here is the number of energy levels. It's different. It's like a different number, not capital N.
all the energy levels, we get the total number of systems in our ensemble. So we have
not necessarily capital N. It's most likely a different number.
I'm going to use this.
It's the number of energy levels.
A relationship quite a bit later on. Well, here we have the sum over the n sub j's equals capital purple N. We have a second important relationship. We call that each of these sets of systems, they all have a particular energy. So the ones that have the first level of energy we call n sub 1, but with actual magnitude of energy, we use the symbol E sub j. So this is the number of systems that have the energy of the jth level, and then the energy of the jth level itself is going to be E sub j. So if we multiply the number of systems that have particular energy, right?
Wow. So the number of systems at energy level j times the energy level j, what number is that?
It's energy. And then we sum this up. What we get over is the total energy of the entire system. Again, we'll put it in a slightly different color here.
Very good. It's the total energy of the entire system, which never changed. So we need to define that also in the beginning.
Distinguish the total energy from the energy of a particular energy level. An important thing to see here is that this is going to be a constant. So we have a law of conservation of energy that we're going to impose on our canonical ensemble. So we'll see that these two particular sets of summations are important restrictions on our canonical ensemble. The first is that each of these systems has some particular energy level. So if we sum over all the levels, we get the total number of systems. And the second relationship here, the second summation, tells us that if we sum up the energies of each of the systems, we're going to get the total energy of the system, which is going to be a constant. As we might imagine, there can be many different ways of arranging the energy among these identical systems such that the total energy remains constant. So the symbol that we're going to use for the number of different ways of distributing energy throughout these systems, we're going to use the symbol omega. So we may have seen this before in discussions of entropy and also in evaluating the number of microstates for electron term systems. So using the principles of probability, we know that the way we can calculate how many different possible distributions we have is we have the total number of systems n factorial.
He's going to calculate the total number of combinations, the combinatorial of something? Of what?
And this is then divided by the number of systems that are in the first state, factorial, and the number that are in the second state, factorial. And this is going to go up however many as we have. Let's put n sub j, factorial. So when we evaluate this, this will give.
Shouldn't be j. It has to be the total, the number of energy states. So you need to define that number, not n sub j.
Plus the number of different ways of distributing the energy among these various different energy levels. Next, we're going to apply a principle from probability and statistical mechanics that the more different ways we have of realizing a distribution, the more probable it is. So what we want to do in principle is find out in such a way as we maximize this omega, maximize the number of possible ways of realizing this distribution. Now, it turns out, mathematically, that is not the easiest way to achieve what we want to do. So we're going to do something that works similarly to max.
I don't know where he's taking this discussion. I have no idea. I didn't get it. What is he doing now? What is this combinatorial thing? And this is just the beginning, and I'm already lost. What about, I don't know. What about this guy?
In this exercise, we'll compute the average speed and maxwell-boltzmann distribution of velocities. More generally, we'll just see how to compute an average for a continuous probability distribution. So in this case, let's consider a fluid whose velocities are described by the maxwell-boltzmann distribution shown here. Now, generally speaking, you don't want to integrate this. You have to, but you don't want to, because the function is proportional to v squared times e.
Definitely not.
Hello. In this video, we are.
Initially, only a few of the particles are moving. The energy quickly spreads throughout all the particles as shown. Each square represents the particle with the corresponding color. Initially, only a few of the particles are moving. The energy quickly spreads throughout all the particles as shown. Each square represents the particle with the corresponding color. The horizontal axis represents the magnitude of the velocity of each particle. The vertical axis represents the number of different particles with that velocity magnitude. In the graph, the velocity of each particle is rounded to the appropriate number of digits, so that all the squares neatly fit into columns. This system quickly reaches what we call thermodynamic equilibrium, and the graph for the velocity distribution ends up looking as shown. A system is in thermodynamic equilibrium when the entropy of the system has reached its maximum possible value, given the constraints of the system. Entropy is a measure of how many different ways something can occur. There are only a small number of ways in which all the energy can be given to only a few particles, and hence the situation at the beginning had a smaller entropy. There is a much larger number of ways in which the energy can be dispersed as shown, and hence this situation has a higher entropy. If all the particles hypothetically had the exact same energy, then this would have a lower entropy, because there is a smaller number of different ways in which all the particles can have the exact same velocity magnitude. There is a much larger number of ways in which the velocity magnitudes can be.
So there's a smaller way in which there's only one way in which all the particles. No, it's not one way. Is it? If it's indistinguishable, there's one way in which all the particles can have the same energy. No?
Dispersed on the graph as shown, and this velocity distribution is what we get when the entropy is at its maximum for this given temperature. In this simulation, all the particles are represented as spheres interacting through perfectly elastic collisions. The total energy of the entire system is always constant. The average kinetic energy per sphere is what we call temperature. If we increase the temperature by adding energy to the system, the graph for the velocity distribution changes as shown. This system now has a higher entropy than before, because with more energy, there are more different ways in which the energy can be distributed. On average, the graph will look like this. If we decrease the temperature, the graph changes as shown. Here are the graphs for a variety of different temperatures. Each of these graphs is for a system in thermodynamic equilibrium for that given temperature. A system is in thermodynamic equilibrium when the entropy of the system has reached its maximum possible value, given the constraints of the system. Entropy is a measure of how many different ways something can occur. Each of the different ways something can occur is what we call a microstate. Here, a microstate would consist of all the positions and velocities of all the particles at a given moment in time. In quantum physics, the way we count microstates is different than in classical physics. For example, consider the positions and velocities of several identical particles at a given moment in time. Now, consider a situation where we have the exact same set of positions and velocities, but we swap the colors of the particles. In a classical system, we can do this because the particles are distinguishable, and each of these cases is counted as a separate possible microstate. However, in a quantum system, identical particles are indistinguishable, and therefore all these cases are counted as only a single possible microstate. Hence, the thermodynamic equilibrium
I'm
is
falling asleep. This is way too boring. Jesus, help me. Oh my god, this is so boring. Why is it so boring? Does it really have to be so boring? Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. Why is it so boring? My god. Oh.
Suppose we add thermal energy by applying a force for a few seconds in the direction shown. The energy quickly spreads out among all the molecules in the box. A portion of this energy contributes to the rotations of these molecules. The remainder of the energy contributes to the motion of these molecules through space. It's only the motion of these molecules through space, and not the rotation of these molecules, that contributes to the temperature. The definition of temperature is the average kinetic energy per molecule, not counting the rotation. Here, the energy associated with the rotation is significant only because we have molecules composed of more than one atom. This would not be the case if all the molecules consisted of only a single atom. This is because almost all the mass of a single atom is concentrated in the nucleus. The nucleus is too small to give the atom a significant moment of inertia. The energy associated with the atom's rotation is therefore extremely small and can be neglected. Suppose we have a system consisting of just a single molecule containing only a single atom. The thermal energy we add to the system is divided between motion in the x direction, motion in the y direction, and motion in the z direction. We say that this system contains 3 different degrees of freedom. Now let's consider a system consisting of one molecule containing 2 atoms. This system can now also have rotations. This system has 5 different degrees of freedom. Three of these degrees of freedom are the motions in the x, y, and z directions. The remaining 2 degrees of freedom are 2 different types of rotations.
Why can't you have the third rotation? So one is like horizontal, one is vertical, but there's another vertical.
We are not counting the rotation around the axis joining the 2 atoms. This is because, as in the case of the rotation of a single atom, the moment of inertia around this axis is very small. The energy associated with this rotation is therefore also very small and can be neglected. We've also been neglecting the energy due to the vibrations in the bonds between the atoms. This energy can actually be significant, and we will talk about these vibrations later in this video. But for now, for simplicity, let us assume that these vibrations do not exist. Suppose we add thermal energy as heat. The thermal energy we add as heat will, on average, be evenly distributed among these 5 different degrees of freedom. If we add 5 units of thermal energy to this system as heat, each of the 5 different degrees of freedom will gain 1 unit of energy. But it's only the 3 degrees of freedom at the bottom that contribute to increasing the temperature. We need to add 5 units of energy as heat in order for 3 units of energy to be used to increase the temperature.
Oh my God.
By contrast, in the case of the molecule with a single atom, we only need to add 3 units of energy as heat in order for all 3 units of energy to be used.
Okay.
Initially, only a few of the Initially, only a few of the particles are moving. The energy quickly spreads throughout all the particles as Here, a microstate would consist of all the positions and velocities. Though, at high temperatures and low particle concentrations, the energy distribution for a system of fermions or for a system of bosons will look very similar to that of a system of classical particles. In this simulation, this is discussed in detail in the video, Molecular Temperature and Degrees of Freedom. Special thanks to all the people supporting this channel on Patreon. Your support is very much appreciated. Apps for a variety of different temperatures. This situation has a higher entropy.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
So we have seen that the probability that a molecule has a particular velocity can be written in terms of this Boltzmann factor for the energy, the kinetic energy of the gas, divided by its partition function. But we've discovered that we're not terribly interested in the probability of the velocity of the vector. What we're much more interested in is knowing the probability of the molecules moving with a certain speed. For example, I might be interested in how many molecules or what fraction of molecules in the air in this room are moving with a velocity of 200 meters per second, but I don't really care whether they're moving at 200 meters per second in this direction or this direction or that direction or this direction. So we'd rather have a distribution of molecular speeds rather than molecular velocities. So we can start with this expression and remind ourselves that this is the probability. If I were to integrate it, the integration variables would be three different.
Yeah, but he's not deriving it. He says he derived it in the previous lesson. I don't know.
you might, I assume that you've heard of gas laws and everything before, and you probably also know that the velocities of molecules somehow corresponds to temperature. If we increase the temperature, molecules will on average move faster. So there is a classical relation behind that. If we draw an XY diagram here, where we have on the X diagram, I say speed, so basically the absolute value of velocity. And here we say, let's say density, or the number of molecules. At low temperature, say 300 Kelvin or something, the maximum here is going to be fairly sharp and occur at fairly low temperatures. So let's say that's 300 Kelvin. Now, if I bump up the temperature a little bit, on average, the molecules will move faster, but it does not mean that each and every molecule will move, say, 10 meters per second faster or something. But we're going to have a slightly different distribution. And even in this case, there will be some molecules that move very slowly. So maybe it would look like this. And now I'm just inventing numbers here. Let's say 500 Kelvin. And finally, if you really crank up the heater here and move up to 700 Kelvin, we might have something like this. Again, these are purely for illustration. So how do we determine this? Well, this is the so-called Maxwell-Boltzmann velocity distribution. So it's related to Boltzmann. It was Maxwell using Boltzmann's results to describe how this influences gases. And ultimately, this is what describes why we have different pressures in gases and everything as a function of temperature. But this is just an illustration. It does not explain why this happened. And as the next concept in the class, we're going to need to go in and start deriving this. Why do things on average move faster at 700 Kelvin? Because here, too, it's a matter of energy, right? We know that the kinetic energy of a molecule is the kinetic energy Ekin of a small particle. That is equal to the mass of the particles multiplied by the velocity squared divided by 2. There is no question that that V is higher at 700 than at 500. That V is higher further up here, right? So in principle, if we wanted to go up to low Ekin, all of them should be at 0. So why is it that not all of them are at 0, and why is that depends also on the temperature? So there.
I have no idea what he's saying.
In this exercise, we'll compute the average speed and Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution of velocities.
No, one derivation.
Okay, our goal has been to figure out which macro state of a system is most likely, meaning which macro state either maximizes the multiplicity or maximizes the entropy of the system. And now we're in a position where we're able to do that not only with constraints on the probability, but also with constraints on the energy. So that's.
Yeah, I have no idea what he just said.
So let's have a closer look at the Boltzmann distribution, and in fact, even derive it for a special case. The reason for that is that I actually find it easier in the general case because there are fewer things I have to define. But the first time, it can sound very abstract, and my experience tells me that most of you find it easier to understand the special case. Hopefully, this whets your appetite so you see the power of the general case. Just as
Yeah, I have no idea what he's saying. His English is horrible.
Finkelstein, I'm going to use the case of I have a column of gas, whole column, and then I want to study the distribution of these gas molecules as a function of the height here, h. Now,
As a function of the height here, h.
In general, there are two components acting here. We have a pressure acting up.
So what are we looking for?
And we have the gravity, which is the component forcing all the atoms down. The pressure forces to spread out, otherwise everything could be down here. If there was no gravity, we would have equal density everywhere. But with the gravity, we need more molecules down here when the potential energy is better. If I look at a particular thin slice here, under equilibrium, the difference if I move up throughout the slice, well, I can calculate that at a particular value roughly from the derivative multiplied by the thickness of the slice. Or alternatively, if I move up this slice, that means that what is the extra pressure? Well, pressure is force per area. So the extra pressure, or the
You're going to take that slice and move it up?
difference in pressure I get is going to be the force for all the atoms or molecules in this thin slice and how much they contribute to the pressure downwards. And that I can get from the change in the potential energy. So I just need to derive those two expressions and then put the
Change in the potential energy?
equal and then try to solve the equation and see what that should be. The pressure is probably the easiest one for you. Pressure, Gila's access pressure multiplied by volume is NKT, where N is the number of particles. I could work with this, but then I need to start worrying about what the volume is, what is the absolute number of particles. I'm interested in principles. And because I have the same area here all the time, I'm not really changing the volumes, so I can just choose to introduce lowercase n, which is the number of particles per volume as a function of height. And that would just be NKT. So lowercase n is uppercase n divided by volume. I haven't talked in general. In this equation, K and T are constants, P and N are functions of the height.
These are obviously different Ks. So this is R. This is Avogadro's number or Reynolds number. I don't remember which, but it's not the same K. Is this already Boltzmann? This might be Boltzmann constant already.
I can take the derivative. So dP dH equals dN dH kT. I'm not sure if you're taking advanced analytic mathematics, but as long as I'm working with functions of a single variable, I'm actually allowed to separate this dn and dh, or dp and dh here, and use them just as if they were variables. Only works for functions of a single variable. So
he's saying he's dividing by volume. So it's n over v. It's little n. Oh, it's the same constant. My bad. Okay. So what is he saying here? The change, no, as the pressure changes, as you go up, the pressure changes. And the number of particles per height for a little height unit also changes. What is he aiming to get?
I can choose to simply define this is my thickness dh, which is very small. And that means that the change in pressure here, well, that's dp dh multiplied by dh, right? So dp dh is that expression multiplied by dh. That's going to work. Let's try to do exactly the same thing then, but for gravity. So I'll try to separate those. Gravity was orange. If I had one particle, or molecule or something, you know, I hope, that the potential energy of such a particle is the mass of the particle multiplied by the gravitational field constant.
Potential energy of that particle is mgh.
Multiplied by the height we put it at. But I wasn't directly interested in the potential. I was interested.
This is the potential energy of a particle, then this is the mass of the particle.
In the pressure. So pressure is force per area. And in my case, the area is going to be unity, because I can always set my scale here so that A equals 1. So then I need to get the force. And also, I don't want, well, the force on one atom, I write that first. The force on one atom, that is minus the derivative of the potential energy, right? So the force on one atom would be minus Ft. The reason for that minus sign has to do with the direction of the coordinate axis. The coordinate axis is pointing up, so the force is pointing down. What does this mean then? Well, the pressure difference across this.
This is mg. Did he say that is the derivative? The derivative of the potential energy is the force? Anyway, so the force is mg. The force on a particle?
Small volume H here. What's that going to be? And in this case, I find it easier to not work with the derivative, but the separate components. So then dP, the total difference in pressure, that's going to correspond to the force per volume then. So that's going to be minus mgn, because there are n particles per volume here, right? Multiplied by the thickness dh.
So the force, this is one particle, is negative mg. Mg times n is the total force for all the n particles that are in dh. That's the change in pressure. Well, is this because P is equal to mgnh? Well, mg, I mean, this is basically P is equal to, P is force per area. So force per area, so force is equal to F equals mg A the pressure is force per area. Force per area is force multiply this by the area. But what is the pressure? The pressure is a function of h and n. What is n? N is the average. N is a function of h. So mgh is one particle. mgnh is those particles at h, and that's p. P is mgnh. So dp is mdn dh, where n is a function of h.
Again, one particle minus mg. The force on n particles per volume is minus mgn. And then I multiply by the thickness of the slice. So the total differential or difference here in pressure across that volume is going to be minus mgn dh.
Yeah, I agree.
And that I can also write as dp dh equals minus mgn.
Okay, the change in pressure as you go up is just the force, because no, not exactly. The units are no good. Oh, P's pressure, not momentum. Okay. So the change in pressure, yeah, I mean, this is just this from that, yeah.
But now I have two expressions for dpdh, here and here. So let's get back and put them.
So we have dpdh that we got from PV equals NRT, that P is equal to little n. I guess it's NRT. So dp, so n is a function of h. So dpdh is equal to dndh, rt or kt. 1 second, I need to scratch. My ear. Oh my God. Why is it so boring to learn new things? It's so painful. Oh, I didn't bring water. Oh my God, my life is not worth living anymore. My life is over. My life is over. Over. Hmm. Hmm. Love of my life. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Wait a minute, I think she blocked me. I can't see. I'm not getting updates. I'm not getting updates of when she was last online. Oh, how horrible is it? She blocked. I don't think she blocked me. I doubt it. All right, the next step is dPdH. So the NDH KT is equal to negative MGN.
Them in the same equation. So that says that dN
The NDH
multiplied by KT
is equals
minus
negative
MGN.
MGN. What do you see from here? Well, we have N here and N here. So you already see the logarithm, the natural log. Because N here is 1 over N. So it's 1 over N dN dH. It's 1 over N of H dN dH. You can bring the KT over to this side. It's all constants, negative mg over KT. And then you integrate both sides. Very good.
This is a differential equation. There are lots of constants here, but n is a function of h, and here are constants, and then we have the derivative of that function.
But this is n. So what you're seeing is that n. I mean, this is the number of molecules per h as a function of h. This has nothing to do with the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution.
Function. I actually find this remarkably easy to solve just by writing it in a different way. Divide both sides by kt. So then I have that dn dh equals minus mg divided by kt n. And again, n is a function. So what I'm saying here, I have a function that has the property that the derivative of the function is proportional to the original function. And then we have a constant that shows up in front of it.
That's the exponential function.
You know what that function is?
It's the exponential. So let's try e to this thing. Let's call this thing alpha. So it's alpha e to the alpha. No, it's e to the alpha. N of h is e to the alpha. But where is h? If you're saying it's a function of h, where is h? You're saying n is a function of h. How? Where is h? I don't know. Anyway, so try e to the alpha. E, if you take the derivative, this is, right? Let's say n is e to the alpha. So the derivative e to the alpha is alpha e to the alpha. but e to the alpha is n. So it's alpha n, and this is it.
That is the exponential function. Actually, it's not just the exponential function, a constant before the exponential function to right. Any constant multiplied by the exponential function will have this property. And this extra term is then what shows up in the exponent. So based on that, we can write that n equals c, the constant, multiplied by the exponent, raised to minus mg divided by kt multiplied by the variable h. That was the variable that we had, that n was the function of. And that is a beautiful.
Oh, yeah, otherwise right. Otherwise, if h doesn't show up, then it's just the derivative, it's a constant, and the derivative of a constant is 0, so it's good.
Result. Because if you now use the expression for the potential energy, what does this say? Well, this says that n is proportional to, and then I can get rid of my constant, e raised to minus e pot divided by kt. So of course, because it was a special case, it's just
so n is proportional, which means the c, so it's proportional to e pot is mgh, and here is mgh, so it's e pot over kt.
Potential energy here, but that's the only energy I had. And that derives the Boltzmann distribution for this particular case.
This is the Boltzmann distribution for this particular case.
Because it's special. But again, what this says is that if I have very high energy here, up here, then I'm going to have very low number of particles. But if I have very low energy, I'm going to have a very high number of particles. But it doesn't mean that everything will be here, and it doesn't mean that it will be equal. You can, of course, doubt the value of this, because this is...
So a negative, the e to the negative is basically 1 over e. 1 over e looks like the natural log. No. It's a decreasing. It's an always decreasing function, but it's always positive, always decreasing. So the number of particles as a function of the potential energy. So where h is high, the number is low. And where the potential energy is high, the potential energy is high as a function of the potential energy. So when the potential energy is low, the n is high.
It's only proven for a gas case. It doesn't have any validity directly for proteins. But for now, you're going to need to trust me that this will apply universally, and it's a very fundamental result in statistical mechanics.
Can I kill myself now? Relative population and states. Oh my God. Yeah, this is very difficult. This is not so straightforward as I thought.
Let's talk about the equation for the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution and how it's controlled by the particle size or molecular mass, particle mass, and the temperature. Now, what I've done here is written out the entire equation for the probability that a particle is traveling at a certain speed. After all, the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution is a probability density function that is based off of the speed of the particle. Lots of textbooks will write V here for velocity of the molecule. I'm using X because I think it's more intuitive for high school math.
X is intuitive? Oh my God. This guy's out of his mind. X is more
So let's have a closer look at the Boltzmann distribution, and if I can do...
Let's see.
Consequence of what's happening. The one outcome that I think is basically impossible is house if the neighbors have weapons, if anybody in the neighborhood has weapons, and the ones that will most. All right, everybody, welcome to our book show on this Monday, September 23rd. It's going to be an interesting show today. I am at a WeWorks, actually in the WeWorks where the Iron Man Center Israel is based. So I am in the heart of Tel Aviv. I think Hezbollah was aiming for our building this afternoon. They just missed us, but like not by that much actually, 50 kilometers maybe to the east. They hit well, most of the missiles didn't make the ground, but the ones that did almost hit some Arab villages in the West Bank. So the aim is off. All right, let's see. What do we want to? We're going to talk about the situation in Israel today. There's a sense in which you could say today was the first day where I really got the sense that Israel is serious about this war, at least in the north, and that it's at least to some degree has its act together. So we'll talk about that. I'm energized by what Israel is doing, and we'll see. There's so many steps to go. But today, after what they did last week, today was pretty exciting what they did. Let's see. I've also got a bunch of other topics that we can cover. A lot of this depends, as always, on whether you have questions, how many questions, what do you guys want to talk about. You know the drill. You know how to do it. Sign at the bottom of the chat here, and it'll be in here. I think like an 8 this going. I just completed an hour and 15-minute kind of open Q&A with a group of about, I think, 16 or 17 Israeli objectivists here at a conference room, and we figured we'd do that, and then I would go right into a show. I think they've all gone to get something to eat, but at some point they're going to come back, and we'll have a live audience here of Israelis listening to the show, and you guys can ask questions. All right, let's summarize where we are. I think we talked about the Beeper attack, which basically took out about 4,000 plus Hezbollah fighters of various ranks all over Lebanon, but also including in Syria and elsewhere. It wasn't just the Keepers, it was other communication devices, other electronic devices that also exploded. One of the greatest intelligence, offensive military feats in all of human history, I think. Truly an amazing thing. And I said at the time, that is a great setup for an all-out war and an all-out attack of Israel on the Hezbollah and on Lebanon. That turned out to be phase one. Phase two, and I don't know if Israel knew this was going to be a phase two, or if it just got lucky, if you will. Phase two was a bombing of a meeting of senior Hezbollah members, senior Hezbollah commanders in Beirut. What was it, 2 days ago? Where not only did they kill the guy who was the chief operations for the Hezbollah militarily, but also managed to kill the entire leadership of the Radwan force, which is the special forces of the Hezbollah, the best trained, the ones who did a lot of the fighting in Syria, got a lot of experience fighting, and the ones that were most feared of all the Hezbollah fighting forces. They were the most feared, and basically their entire leadership was wiped out. So now you've got basically the entire leadership of Hamas. Remember, Israel had already killed the former head of operations. They'd already killed many of the Hamas leadership, Hezbollah leadership. And basically the entire Hezbollah leadership has been wiped out, at least at the very top. And Radwan even.
My God, I'm so tired. Let's see if hey. Oh my God. Kill me now, please. I'm not pro men. Men are great, but women suck kind of person though. For all you retards, you will try the trick. Oh my God. Just want to sleep. Da 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 da. Okay. Okay. If Amber comes, we'll talk to her.
Over the last 11 months, the way things have been going is Israel, Hezbollah sends missiles to Israel. Most of them don't land, almost all of them knocked out of the air. Casualties on the Israeli side are minimal. And then Israel retaliates by bombing a few places in Lebanon, weapons depots, assassinating Hamas fighters. About 500 Hezbollah fighters. About 500 Hezbollah fighters were killed in this way through basically targeted assassinations or targeted bombings of particular Hezbollah facilities over the last 11 months. And yesterday there was significant bombing of more Hezbollah weapons depots, and it was pretty intense. About 150 targets were targeted, and major explosions, major fires. They hit major. But today there was a real shift strategically. And this is really phase three of what they're doing. Israel basically today told civilians in South Lebanon to leave their homes, to leave South Lebanon. The way they described it as, it turns out, and there's some good animations on Twitter, and I'm sure on other social media we can find this, it turns out that Hezbollah has been hiding not just the weapons themselves, but the launches, the weapons and the launches, inside people's homes. They basically went with this kind of deal to many of the civilians in South Lebanon. They said, look, these are mainly Shiites, but I think others as well. Look, we'll build you a new house. Everything. We'll spend the money, we'll build you a new, nice big house. And you have to dedicate a portion of it to put in a ballistic missile that we can launch at any time from your home. We'll take it out of the garage, launch it, and sneak it back into the garage, right? And then load it up. And a lot of people, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people took them up on this. And there were massive storage of missiles and launches and drones, weaponized drones in people's homes in South Lebanon. So what Israel did today is they basically took over the cell phone network in Lebanon, and they sent a recorded message to the cell phones of thousands of Lebanese, basically telling them, if in your home there happens to be weapons of Hezbollah.
So they can just nilly-willy take over a network system. This is... Oh my God. Because all these systems are so exploitable. This is unbelievable. I always tell people never to use the cellular network. Only use private apps, especially the encrypted ones. Like WhatsApp belongs to, what's his name? Mark Zuckerbergman, whatever. So he uses WhatsApp. So he doesn't want government to spy on him. So you can bet you that he does his best to encrypt WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is encrypted. So you can basically, I wouldn't say trust, but it's very likely that WhatsApp is safe to use. But it's very likely that the cellular network is unsafe to use. Everything you're saying on a cellular network is completely exposed. You're exposing yourself. So don't get used to using it, because you are going to divulge private information in a phone call and they will get you. They just need to get you once.
Or if your neighbor might be storing some weapons of Hezbollah, you should probably get out of town. You should probably get away because we're going to blow them all up. They didn't say that. That was implied. These things, when they blow up, this is a big explosion because not only is the missile blowing up, but then the missile that it's hitting is blowing up. And if you've seen pictures on Twitter, these are fireworks. I mean, so at some point they recommended that people leave to a distance of at least 1 kilometer. Well, the Lebanese got the message. And today what you saw was convoys of cars, massive traffic jams, leaving South Lebanon, going north of the Litani River. And that was in the morning. And Israel started bombing individual homes, which had these weapons in them.
Yeah, 1 second. Amber, yes. I'm free. Free at last. Free at last. Free at last. Free at last. Oh boy, I'm free at last.
And you can see secondary explosions and third explosions and all of this was going on. You also saw significant.
Okay, she'll be right back.
Significant number of casualties, many more casualties today in Lebanon than we've seen, certainly in the northern front since the beginning of the war. As much as some of the, maybe even more than any day in Gaza. So we're talking about hundreds of people dying today in South Lebanon because they didn't leave their home or because they're Hezbollah fighters and they were engaged in activities related to trying to bomb Israel. Let's see. So that happened in the morning. Hundreds of targets. Yesterday, everybody's impressed by the fact that 150, 200 targets were hit. Today, overall, in the entire day, the last number I saw was that Israel hit 1,100 different targets. 1,100 targets were hit during the day today. But in the afternoon, the Israeli military basically expanded the attack to the Bekaa Valley. Now, the Bekaa Valley is further north and further east of what's typically called South Lebanon.
My worry is that Israel knew this all along and didn't take action all these years. So Israel was exposed all these years. Why did Israel take a chance all these years to being exposed? You have to destroy these things as soon as you become aware of their existence. 1 second. What's going on? I don't know who that is. Rover. Wait, that sounds familiar, a little bit familiar.
Lebanon, which is the area beneath this river called the Litani. The area between the Litani and the Israeli border is typically referred to as Southern Lebanon. The Bekaa Valley, if you think, is northeast of that. And it's a large valley. It's a valley in which, in 1982, last time Israel went into Lebanon in a big way, there were major battles there. The Syrians have occupied the Bekaa Valley. There were battles there with the Syrians. Today, this was expanded. These now, the Bekaa Valley is further away from Israel. The missiles being stored in people's homes are more likely to be cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. These are missiles that can go a far longer range than the missiles that are typically held in the south of Lebanon. And Israel went after those. All afternoon and early evening, they were bombing these locations. Again, the number of casualties on the Lebanese side is in the hundreds. And the number of missiles destroyed, I don't know, probably in the thousands. The number of launches, probably in the hundreds. This was a major operation. I mean, basically, wave after wave after wave of F-16s and F-15s, I think primarily. I'm sure the F-35s were there as well. Waves after waves of Israeli bombing, very accurate bombing, targeted at Hezbollah infrastructure, targeted at Hezbollah weapon systems, and just total destruction, total devastation of them. Now, at the same time, early on, Hezbollah, you could tell, was in some way caught off guard, and they tried to retaliate, but their missiles went away and unfocused, and they went very far. They were primarily, again, the usual tit-for-tat type missiles that hit the Northern Galilee and the Golan Heights. Then towards evening, they got organized. It appears they got organized. And I know that air raid shelters, air raid sirens sounded at my parents' place, just outside Haifa, or on kind of the northern slopes of Haifa, so really facing Lebanon, straight facing Lebanon. Earlier this evening, you can find right now online, you can find pictures of the Iron Dome working above Haifa, where I was the day before yesterday, and where my parents live. And I don't think there were any impact, nothing hit the ground, but it must be scary for the citizens in Haifa to see these bombs. They're experiencing now what southern Israel has experienced for many years, sadly. That is missiles heading towards them and watching the Iron Dome take them out for the most part. So it seems like Hezbollah got directed a little together. They still have some missiles and some accuracy. They also launched missiles in the direction of Tel Aviv. That is the distance they got right, but they missed to the east. And they, as I said, they hit some targets in the West Bank rather than in Israel proper. Again, most of those. Now, what's interesting, I think this is true. I read this in one of the reports. Israel does not have an Iron Dome to protect the West Bank. The idea is Hezbollah don't want to kill West Bank Arabs. These are Palestinians. They're people. They're supposed to be all one. So the Iron Dome did not protect. So there was actually a lot of hits in the West Bank. They just didn't hit anything in humans. They hit open ground. But anything that approached Tel Aviv and approached a little bit further west were knocked out of the sky. Again, as far as I know, I haven't seen any evidence that any other missiles targeting Haifa hit any buildings.
This has nothing to do with Palestinians. The West Bank has plenty of Jews living there, like intermixed with the Arab settlements. But Israel doesn't protect these, these mostly mountainous regions. It's just not. It's not dense enough. It could, I mean, if something lands in one of those settlements, it could do damage.
I will say that the missiles targeting Haifa were clearly targeting civilians. This was not targeting the massive industrial infrastructure that Israel has in the Bay of Haifa. This was targeting the Carmel. This was targeting the area of where people live. Just to give you a sense of what life is like, right? And it is interesting to be in Israel right now. Did I freeze? Oh, you're playing well. Okay, you scared me there because I'm now traumatized by freezing. Yesterday, the biggest hospital in the north of Israel, it's called Rambam. It's a hospital my father worked in for decades, for many, many years. He was a vice dean in a medical school and was the headed a department there. Last night, Haifa, this morning, they released 200 patients who could be released home. And then they took all the patients in the hospital and they took them underground. So the hospital in Haifa basically has a smaller twin. So they built layers of the hospital under the ground in basically a protective shelter. And today they moved all those patients underground. The doctors and the nurses are all working underground, taking care of those patients. Because it's a small facility, they released 200. But also, they during the day, they've been transporting people from other hospitals in northern Israel to this facility that's underground in Rambam. So imagine hospitals in Israel have to think about what happens when we get bombarded. Right? And this is a day-to-day activity. And the reason for that is because, again, the country is tiny. I don't think many people have a concept of how small this country really is. So Rambam has underground hospital. Hooray for them. I mean, it's amazing that they have that ability.
The fact that they don't let us build anywhere in the West, so that's why there's not enough of anything. There's not enough hospitals, not enough of anything. And there's so much regulation. Like if you want to build quickly a new hospital, you're never going to get a permit to build anything. It doesn't matter. The world could end in 10 seconds. They're not going to give you a permit to build. They're not going to give you a permit to build ever, ever, ever. Not going to happen. The world will be destroyed. You will not get a permit to build. That's Western civilization. That's it. Beginning, middle, end. No permit to build. Everything must be old, dilapidated from the communist era when the government did build. 1 second. Hey, what's up?
I can't find a lighter. And I want to smoke, so it's driving me fucking crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should smoke too. Maybe that will wake me up. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. I'm so sleepy.
Yeah, if you forgot, that's probably not helping.
No.
Oh, I found a lighter.
Smoking is actually very healthy.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend it.
No, I mean, smoking is healthy because everything is healthy in the proper amount. That's what people forget. Like food is healthy in the proper amount. Exercise in the proper amount. Sun, proper amount. Everything in proper amount. Anything you do that is not in the proper amount is unhealthy, including everything. So smoking, just like everything else, is very healthy in the proper amount.
Honestly, dude, it's not even the smoking, it's the fact that people mix stuff into the tobacco and then it's not good for you. Because, like, tobacco has some benefits, but, like, people cut it so much that it doesn't have any benefits anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it also doesn't feel the same. Like, the first time I had tobacco that didn't come from the US, I was, like, really shocked.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they put like insecticides on tobacco. I'd be very surprised.
They do.
They do? Let me Google that.
Yeah, they do. That's very widely known information.
Do they put insecticide on tobacco? I'm asking ChatGPT. Yes, insecticides and other pesticides are commonly used in the cultivation of tobacco. Well,
They use a lot of them.
well, there you go. Yeah, so that I guess that alone would be very cancerous. That is
Yeah.
terrible. So so we should start organic cigarettes. Are there any organic cigarettes?
Yeah, you can get American Spirit. That's organic.
Yes, there are organic cigarettes available on the market. These cigarettes are typically made from tobacco grown without the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers. They may also be free of certain additives found in conventional cigarettes. However, it is important to note that even though organic cigarettes may contain fewer chemical additives, they are still harmful to health as they contain nicotine. Nicotine is naturally occurring in the body and other toxic. It's not toxic.
I don't know
Nicotine.
about that. Like, where is nicotine occurring in your body? Like, I know about cannabinoids.
Are you kidding? Nicotine, that
I
is,
did not know that.
yeah, nicotine is the neurotransmitter between the neurons and the muscle cells. So the way that the neuron activates a muscle is with nicotine. The nicotine is literally a neurotransmitter. Just cannabinoids are not neurotransmitters; they are neuro modulators. But nicotine is
Aren't they kind of like the pleasure center of your brain? Like
what?
cannabinoids, they're just like the pleasure center of your brain.
No, that's that's another one.
Like other things can like mess it up so that nothing fits
No,
inside them anymore.
no. You're talking about pleasure. The is a neurotransmitter. It's not a neuromodulator. The neurotransmitter for pleasure. Oh my god. 1 second. I can hear myself. Pleasure neurotransmitter. Dopamine. So the dopamine and the dopamine subsystem is pleasure. Cannabinoids actually have nothing to do with pleasure. That's why cannabinoids cannot be addictive. There's nothing addictive about cannabinoids. Wait 1 second. Cannabinoids are a neuromodulator, but I don't think they can be addictive. I don't think cannabinoids can be addictive. Nicotine, I don't see how nicotine. Why is nicotine addictive? Wait, let me check. That's weird. Why is nicotine addictive? Nicotine is addictive because it interacts with the brain's reward system, leading to the release of neurotransmitters, particularly dopamine, which reinforce behavior and create. That doesn't make it. Why should it be connected to dopamine? This reinforces.
Because it
Why? Yeah, go ahead.
that's what it does. It releases dopamine. Obviously, it's going to be addictive.
But why does it? How is it related to dopamine? Dopamine is like, I can understand sugar or sex or anything that evolution wants you to become addicted to. So releases dopamine. Dopamine is the
How fucking nicotine.
Why is
Like you're not
nicotine?
born with sex in your brain, homie.
What do you mean?
Like
Nicotine.
that's like an experience that you have to learn to enjoy. It's an acquired taste, and like not everybody likes it. But like nicotine, everyone can benefit from. Especially people who don't like physical touch. They usually love nicotine. Like I've seen a lot of people like cope with it.
Wait. No, why would nicotine react with dopamine? Let me read this. Activation of nicotine receptors. 1 second. This reinforcement makes people want to use nicotine repeatedly, which leads to addiction over time. Yeah, but why does nicotine reinforce dopamine or enforce or relate to dopamine? So how nicotine causes addiction? Activate. I mean, once something connects with dopamine, that's it. That's going to be an addiction. That's the end of that. But why would nicotine connect with dopamine? What's the connections? It's like nicotine is muscle activation, and dopamine, that's like the reward system created by evolution. Whatever evolution wants you to really whatever. Anyway, so let's see. Activation of nicotinic receptors. Nicotine binds to nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, NACRs, in the brain. Wait, why would there be nicotine receptors in the brain? Wait a minute.
Well, why are there
What?
cannabinoid receptors in the brain? Why
No,
does anything exist?
No, cannabinoids is
Yes, there
fine.
are. You're born with them.
No, but not nicotine. One second. Nicotine receptors in the brain. As far as I know, there's no nicotine receptors in the brain. Oh my god. Come on. It's not responding.
Girlfriend.
I think I reached my limit. Is it possible that I reach my limit? If it's not reacting?
You can, yeah. That's the thing is like certain synthetic products flood those receptors and then they get you used to it. So it's almost like you're never using them anymore. You know what I mean? It's like developing a tolerance.
No. But are there any nicotine receptors in the brain? Okay, now it's reacting. Okay, yes, there are nicotinic acetylcholine receptors in the brain. So it's not exactly nicotine, it's nicotinic acetylcholine. I don't know what that is. It's a different molecule.
It just means that those molecules can fit in those receptors. It doesn't mean it was like produced specifically for it.
Let's see. And they are directly involved in the effects of nicotine. These receptors are typically activated by the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which plays a role in various brain functions, including attention, learning, memory, and muscle control. However, nicotine can also bind to and activate these receptors, which is how it produces its effects on in the brain. But how is it related to what's the other one? The dopamine. So structure, I don't care. Type, I don't care. Key areas. Oh, because it's in the VTA. The VTA, the ventral tegmental area, is exactly that's the control center of the dopamine. So nicotine affects several brain regions by activating these receptors, including the ventral tegmental area, which is in the brainstem. Which anything in the brainstem is like very primitive. What is that noise? So it's very
Sorry, she started barking at me.
ventral.
Normally you can't hear her. You can probably hear her because the room is a lot smaller, so it's not echoey like my last place.
No, I don't mind as long as I know what the noise is. I thought you were yelling. So.
She was digging the bed, so I thought she was relaxing, but she won't relax unless I pet her, so I have to pet her.
Oh, that's fine. So ventral tegmental
Yeah,
area,
dog.
nicotinic receptors here are critical for dopamine release in the brain's reward pathway. Well, there you go. So it's that is what the brain apparently uses nicotine. I think nicotine is just an ancient neurotransmitter. It's just ancient, and like if maybe it's just what the brainstem uses. Wait, what's going on? Oh, you
I
said.
sent you a picture of her.
Oh, cool. Very nice. She's very cute. Very cute. Very cute animal. Anyway, so yeah, so I think nicotine is just the activation of the VTA. So you're starting a cycle. There's like a built-in cycle, and the cycle is the addiction. So you're starting a cycle and you're dead. Anyway, the nucleus accumbens, yeah, same story. It's right next to it. It's right next door. It's also in the brainstem. So this area is part of the reward system and is involved in the feelings of pleasure and reinforcement caused by nicotine. So you're literally activating the dopamine subsystem. So when you're touching nicotine, you're playing with fire. Jesus, this is so dangerous. You might as well consume crack cocaine. Prefrontal cortex. So nicotine
Yeah, in terms of it being addictive, but in terms of it being incapacitating, no. Like you're also equally as addicted to caffeinated products. So like why, if it was that dangerous, why not just, label caffeine for adults only? Which
no.
it probably should be anyway, considering it's more dangerous. Like you can have a heart attack drinking too much Red Bull, and there's nothing stopping the average 12-year-old from going and doing that on a Tuesday.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Prefrontal cortex. Nicotine can enhance attention and cognitive performance by stimulating receptors in this region. We have nicotinic receptors in the prefrontal cortex. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, that's why it helps so much. Like certain people who have like violent tendencies, especially like violent inward outbursts where they like repetitively hit themselves, or like, they make like crappy decisions and like choose to harm themselves. Nicotine can help a lot with that.
I used to have a friend I worked with, and he used to take nicotine pills.
Yeah.
No.
It's great for that type of thing.
No, he used to take caffeine pills. No, but I've heard of nicotine pills. Like there's channels on YouTube, like health, I forgot the name of the channel, like something.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're expensive. They're normally called Zyn, but I saw some other ones called On, but it wasn't something you could swallow. It was like you have to pack your lip with it, and I thought it was gross.
Nice. Anyway, hippocampus. The hippocampus is really weird. I could tell you stories about the hippocampus here. It's like heart-wrenching stories. Anyway, hippocampus. What?
Sorry, not you. Not you. Not you. I'm talking to her. She was eating my sandal.
Oh. Hippocampus. So these receptors in the hippocampus are involved in learning and memory, and nicotine can temporarily enhance these functions. Interesting. How nicotine interacts with these receptors. Dopamine release. Nicotine binding to these receptors stimulates the release of dopamine. My God, this is playing with fire, especially in the ventral tegmental area and nucleus accumbens. This dopamine release is central to the feelings of pleasure and reward associated with nicotine use, contributing to addiction. So I actually do not enjoy smoking. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. So I don't know.
I love smoking to the fucking core. Like smoking is so enjoyable, and I love it. And vaping doesn't give me the same feeling. I like to vape too, but it's a different sensation.
Interesting.
And also, like, I don't know where my vape is right now, and it doesn't really piss me off. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of want it right now just because I hate losing my things. Like, I've felt the same way about, like, my shoes and about, like, my bra, because, like, we moved and not knowing where my stuff is gives me anxiety. And I hate the feeling of having seen something but not knowing where it is. Like, that vagueness always makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. But, like, you know what I mean? I'm not getting, like, a nicotine fit.
Anyway.
Which I'm kind of surprised, because I thought that if I got used to doing it, that I would start having, like, Nick fits for it.
Let me ask ChatGPT. Why do I not enjoy smoking?
What other forms of it do you enjoy?
Smoking? I hate smoking. I mean,
No, I mean nicotine. Like, do you take the lozenges or do you take like the gum?
No, I don't take anything. I don't like I have no attraction to nicotine. Not everyone.
So you're just Nicholas out in the world.
What?
You're just Nicholas.
What's Nicholas?
You don't have any nicotine.
Yeah, I'm nicotine-less, yeah. Not everyone enjoys smoking for a variety of reasons, which can include both biological and psychological factors. Here are several possible reasons why you might not enjoy smoking. Nicotine sensitivity. Some people, yeah, I don't get addicted to nicotine nor to alcohol. When I see people, like from childhood, the way people used to, like friends in high school, the way they used to talk about drinking. Oh, my mom is not letting me drink. And I used to be like, why do you want to drink? Like, what's wrong with you? What do you like about,
Yeah.
like, there's nothing interesting in drinking. Anyway,
That's kind of like showing that you're off the deep end if you're, having that type of feeling already.
what do you mean?
Like, a
Like,
physical dependency to nicotine is something that's like kind of unpredictable, so I don't judge people for that. But I do judge people when they're like addicted to alcohol because that's more of a conscious decision and has more to do with their mental health. So, like, if you're already addicted to alcohol and you're like, I don't know, 15 or something, that's ridiculously unhinged.
no, but I am addicted to food. I love food. Food is delicious, and I am addicted, you could say, to sex. I love sex, but I'm not addicted to nicotine nor alcohol. Like I just, when I see people like addicted to, or drugs, when I see people addicted to smoking and to drinking, I just cannot relate to it. Also caffeine. I drink a lot of coffee, but I can easily skip a day without coffee, and like I could care less. Like I don't care that I skipped a day. Like it doesn't mean anything.
Well, if you're not getting a physical dependency from it, then it's like an entirely different thing.
One second, I have a very interesting.
Like, I wouldn't even count you in the same category as people who get addicted to things if you're not physically dependent on something.
Wait, one second, one
It
second.
just seems like that's like skipping you. Okay.
Wait, 1 second. I just oh, we have a new person, Rover Da Vinci. Mr. Rover Da Vinci. Can you hear me, Mr. Rover Da Vinci? And I have a message on my phone.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Amber.
Hi.
I just saw you guys in here. What are you talking about?
We were talking about like nicotine dependency, and then we started to divert from like the difference between nicotine and alcohol dependency.
I think that the World Health Organization doesn't consider any amount of alcohol good for you. There isn't just like
Now they're
health
saying that, and
yeah. But I think there's probably health benefits to nicotine. So there's a slight difference there, I think. But it depends how
right, and
dependent
like,
you are.
I was saying like the impairment of nicotine's like not the same because we were talking about like nicotine and crack being like the same level of addictiveness, but it's like, well, yeah, but if there's not a following impairment when it comes to that, then you can't put them in the same category. That's why they're not in the same drug class.
I guess it depends on how much you did. I mean, if you did enough nicotine, you'd feel pretty ill. But I don't know.
I've made myself sick from it before. It's not hard. Like, especially if you vape, it's really not hard.
Yeah. Also, the way people consume nicotine is, they tend to like smoke it, and it's the smoking that's really bad for you, right? Like, or the vaping or the whatever. Like, I think Vegan Gains does lozenges. He takes like some kind of like nicotine tablet.
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah,
they
he's
don't
like
taste very
very
nice.
informed on his like consumption of stuff. So like I trust his opinion because he's like obsessed with finding the best way to consume something.
Yeah.
Or just not include it. Like he's actually the person who turned me on to like PEDs. Like I haven't started using any of that, but like I don't mind when people do it anymore because like it's not the way people made it out to be.
Yeah,
What's a
because
PT?
improving your performance.
Oh,
Performance
physical.
enhancing drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
It's like steroids.
Yeah, exactly, and not just steroids, but like EPO, like other kinds of shit. Like those are a lot of these things are just medicines that you can be prescribed, right? Like, I mean, if you have anemia,
Right.
get
A lot
you
of
get
stuff I didn't realize even belonged in the same drug class too. Like, you know.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of it is just medicine. Like if it improves your performance, a lot of the time it'll just improve your health as well. Like, so I mean, people should probably be doing more drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's like the whole
That's
Ozempic
honestly
thing.
so true. Like, you know.
Wait,
Yeah, the
one thing about
Ozempic
America.
thing. Did you watch the like South Park Ozempic special?
No, I missed it.
It was well, you know, people see what they want to see, but in my opinion, it almost like proved that the people that the medicine was made for, it's not going to help. So you might as well let people who are benefiting from it take it if they want to.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they're actually benefiting from it and they're going to take it either way. They're going to literally rob people over it. So you might as well let people just have it. Because like it's not helping the diabetics, the people who are diabetic and like super obese. It's like they're just not benefiting from the medicine. They're either getting sick from it and stop taking it, or they eat too much anyway, so it's not serving its purpose.
Yeah, it's like people, get like a gastric bypass surgery. Well, if you get that surgery and then you drink like a can of Coke or something, you're going to be violently ill. But eventually, you're going to be able to just eat like small amounts, and you can kind of beat the surgery like that. You can, put on all the weight again, pretty much.
They used to
Unless you-
make people prove that they were going to take care of the surgery before. Like, I don't understand why people are like getting all this type of crap. Like, have you seen Mariah Carey got like bariatric surgery?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, she got that years ago. Like,
Oh,
and
really?
it was really, really weirdly ridiculous because she wasn't that like
Yeah, just
overweight.
like
Like, I
a
thought she actually
people.
looked just healthy and normal. She was like a healthy, normal adult, but that's not good enough. Like, you know what I mean? So she got her
Yeah,
stomach stable. But you
yeah,
couldn't
and
do that if you were just like some teenager or like I don't know, not teenager, I guess, because no teenager can do that. But like if you're like a 24-year-old and you just want to get your stomach stable because you want to be skinny, they won't let you do it.
yeah, that's it.
So
It's like
people
there's all
go
these
to
cosmetic
Korea to
surgeries.
do that.
Yeah, you can go like get breast implants. You can do this. Yeah, and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, why is this particular surgery, not like that? And the line between like cosmetic and other types of surgeries, I don't think it's a clear line. Yeah, I can maybe see if someone has like severe like anorexia or something like that, then maybe you don't want to do that kind of surgery on them. But apart from that, I mean, like what's the reason
Yeah, but
to
then they
restrict
go
it?
to another country and do it. Like
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that's why it's so popular in places like that. And like places like that also consider like, you know, Asians have a different BMI scale. That's why the Nintendo Wii was calling like kids obese in America, and it was actually like giving them body dysmorphia because they were like normal compositioned people. They just like aren't used to that standard. So it was like really effing with them. And then like if you go to another country, they're not going to argue with you. Like even if you have like a low BMI, they're not going to care. They're going to do it anyway. And even if they did care, you might still fall under a different guide.
Yeah. It's so weird because there's all this idea of like legalizing drugs. There's like they know that like the war on drugs hasn't been all that effective. Like, and but still they apply it to other things. They apply different logic to different things.
I just want people to be able to buy prescription drugs over the counter as like
Yeah,
their
me
own
too.
insurance.
Yeah. Like it's so like unnecessarily restrictive. Like,
drugs as much, but I want people to just be able to buy stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it was in a doctor's appointment, and I said D5 instead of like benzodiazepine or some shit like that, and they're like, "That's the street name." Well, I guess I'm from the streets, bitch. Like Jesus Christ, like you know what I mean? Like, what am I
Well,
gonna?
what if you just learned that? Like you can learn that through like
It's
a
on the news.
documentary or like anything.
If you Google diazepam, it says D5 on Google. Like it's just like, why would it?
What is D5?
It's like an anti-anxiety medication that was given one day, like years and years ago.
What is benzodiazepine?
It's a drug, similar to like alcohol that like relaxes you.
So why not just take alcohol?
Sometimes
They're
they
not
give it
quite
to
the same.
alcoholics because the alcoholics
Yeah,
have like seizures from too much alcohol.
Yeah, they have delirium tremens. Yeah.
Wait, Da Vinci. So this is your first time here. So how did you get here? How did you find us?
I think Amber invited me. I've heard
Oh,
of you
I invited him a
a few
while
years
ago
ago.
because I thought, yeah, I thought that he'd have an interesting talk with you. He seemed interested in some of the stuff we were talking about.
are you into physics?
No, I'm bad at physics. You know what I do love is the Bad Physics channel. I don't know if you know that crazy guy who wants to blow up the world, but he has his own physics channel, and he doesn't believe in kinetic energy. That's so good.
What the hell? Like, you think he just opened me up to something new? Because I've never heard of that, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah, there's like this whole world of like alternative physics.
Amber, we were talking today about big physics. That big physics is gonna knock on the door.
I told you, big physics is trying to get like a profile on you. See, my dog is barking right now because big physics is outside gang stalking me.
It's weird. I've never heard of like the idea of like big physics, but that would make sense because you have big physics
Stop
companies
it.
like General
Stop that.
Electric and those guys. You know, they are big energy. Like big
No,
energy is big
absolutely.
physics.
Every time they
And
find a car that runs on water, they go and kill the person who made it. So.
they just like have like an assassination machine they build for anybody.
No,
You know,
but when
I'll teach you to use high quality H2O, water boy.
no, but like as far like for me, big physics would be, the big name physicists like Neil deGrasse
Oh
Tyson.
yeah.
You
He
know,
took over from Carl Sagan. Yeah.
yeah.
Is he even
So
like a physicist? Like, I mean, how did he?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it is. I miss Carl Sagan though.
he actually when he went to college, so Carl Sagan came out and gave him a tour of the campus, and that's
Yeah,
why
he did. He did. I heard that.
Oh, you
Yeah.
heard the story? So it's pretty.
No, I heard that he met Carl Sagan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, these
I don't know, like
people. This is like consensus science. So there's consensus physics.
yeah, I find these people to be very like sometimes they're right, but in like the wrong way. Like Michio Kaku was predicting like you having multiple home screens on your phone, and the way you swipe right or swipe left on your phone, you have another screen with your apps on it. But he had like a picture of a phone with multiple different screens. You know what I mean? Like
No.
where you have
I don't-
multiple monitors on your computer.
So I don't like Michio Okaku because I think he
Yeah, exactly.
is. I think he's a grifter. He's like
Yeah,
he
no, he is.
talks because he talks about like wormhole. Anyone who believes in wormholes, like I'm suspicious
Yeah,
of.
string theory. They're like a
Yeah,
Star Trek fan that became a physicist, which in
yeah.
one way is cool, but in the other way it's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, none of this is true. He can't even get things right, like the size of the Grand Canyon or something like that. Like, he just, like, in the same show, he'll have completely different figures
No, no,
with
no,
completely different measurements. So there'll be like
no.
feet and then like meters. Like,
No, I would say like Michio Kaku. I'm assuming he knows his physics. Amber, you're killing us. You're
yeah, no,
destroying our.
sure. But
Yeah, I
it's the
mean,
futurism, it's the other things.
he knows.
When it comes to the theoretical stuff.
He
Sorry,
knows
go on.
his physics inside and out. Like he would run circles around me, but he believes in like he talks about things that are like for me it's science fiction. For me it's a waste of time, and he spends so much time talking about like science
Yeah.
fiction.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's too
It's very
fictional.
similar to religion,
Yes,
where like it's fictional, right? Like it's like,
yes,
yeah, if only we could have wands and cast spells. It's like, okay, dude.
yeah.
Like it's
So
just like that level of like ridiculous, but like the physics version.
right now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't like because he is very consensus oriented. So he believes in like in what they all believe, the same ideas that all the consensus physicists espouse. So Neil deGrasse Tyson also espouses like I don't know superposition and maybe entanglement. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I actually I have my
Yeah,
own. I have my
like I
own.
remember
Mhm.
he had a show about it was like a clip of him talking about longevity, and it was like all the other creatures in the world, when you restrict their calories, they live longer.
Mhm.
and that's proportionate to the amount of calories they restrict. So if they eat like 40% less calories, they'll live 40% longer.
Mhm.
And you say, oh, this humans are the ones we haven't tested this in, but it's probably true. But it isn't true. It isn't true in humans. Like, so it's just
Mhm.
kind of weird. Like he's like jumping to conclusions. It's like that idea of like scientists versus
That's
the problem of
weird.
induction.
Even Hawking did the same sort of thing where it's like, dude, you're a physicist. Like, stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so
He also would do that.
So what's your line of research or work or whatever interest?
Who? Me?
You, yeah.
I am professionally unemployed. Okay.
No, but what do you like researching? What do you like studying?
I don't
Like,
really research or study. I'm not able to concentrate much anymore for some reason. So I've unfortunately gotten kind of dumber, and I'm not able to sit down and hit the books, like I used to.
no, but like
Mm.
when you talk on Discord, what do you like discussing?
People are usually talking about philosophy or some subject, something that's in the news, maybe like gun control, which is kind of similar to the drug thing.
Okay, so
If
what's
you
your
can't control drugs, you're not going to control guns. People can
oh
just print them out now with 3D printers.
so you vote for Trump?
Oh no, I'm not from America.
Oh, you're
But
Scottish.
so no, I'm no, I'm Irish.
That was my next guess. I still
Yes,
can't
yeah.
not tell the difference in the accent between
That's
Scottish
okay.
and Irish. It's like
Yeah,
very
they're very similar. They're very
yeah.
similar people. Yeah, I don't think I would vote for Trump. I mean, after the whole insurrection and he's got a load of felonies and the shit he's saying is just insane. There's a whole Project 2025 thing he's trying to deny now. They're all trying to hide that, but actually they're just fucking
Well, yeah,
maniacs.
he said he didn't read it like intentionally. I watched the Lex Friedman interview.
But his policies are very similar. He has like Agenda 47 is like his plan, which is very similar to like Project 2025. Like
Apparently, that's also been abandoned. Like, I don't know, but
Wait,
I
Well,
heard that
they'll
they
say
don't call it that anymore.
wait
They
1
call it
second.
something else. And
Wait,
it's
I'm not familiar. So what is it? What are we talking about? 2025? What's all that?
It's just a plan the Republicans have when running the United States government. They want to install like the people that agree with them, which is understandable. But they're trying to expand executive power, and that it kind of just leads down this path of tyranny where they're just like ruining everything. Everything's more restrictive.
So Trump denies any connection.
Yeah, even though his VP pick is connected to the Heritage Foundation and to Project 2025.
I see. Okay, but I heard Trump denying any connection. I mean, it sounds like he doesn't like the whole idea, and he denies any connection. So what else do you want him to say?
Yeah, I mean, but like he's filling his administration with the people who are connected to that. Right, his vice president is connected to that. I don't know what you mean. Like what do you want me to do? Like just believe everything he says? Like that's just crazy, right? Like
Yeah, I
it's like
mean, in
if
general,
he's,
I believe what people tell me. I believe. Like, why would he
I
want?
have a bridge to sell you. If you'd like to buy it.
But then, no, I was about to say, what does he have to gain? Like, if somebody has something to gain, then they're not objective. Then I can say, okay, I don't trust you because you have something to gain. But if you're just telling me,
I don't quite agree with that, but
wait,
it's okay to gain sometimes. But the issue is that he wants,
no, I don't trust you. If you have something to gain, you're no longer objective about it. Then I don't just trust you. But in general, if somebody tells me his position on something, what does he have to gain? Why would he
and I
lie?
don't understand why you wouldn't trust somebody. Like I mean,
Why
like do you like if you go to like a
right
shop
now,
and you buy something,
like right
they want to
now,
sell you things and they gain your
no, but
money
that's
for selling you something.
different. That's something that's an
Okay.
interest. But listen, right now, as I'm speaking to you, what interest do I have to lie to you? Why would I lie to you right now in this conversation?
But I'm not omniscient, right? Like I mean, I can't
No,
tell
but
everything.
no,
Right?
no. I'm asking a question. I need a real answer, right? So the answer is I have nothing. As far as you know, I have nothing to gain in this
Right, but just
conversation. And
having your base is covered, like it's good to lock your doors even if nobody you know is
No,
trying to
no,
break into your
I
neck.
have nothing to gain by lying. My point is, he has nothing to gain by lying.
Well, that's an assertion on your part. Like you
No, no,
haven't
no.
proven that.
No,
Like
no.
I
I
mean,
don't need to. As far as I know, he has nothing. You need to prove it's on you to prove that he has something to gain in order to define a lie. Otherwise, it's guilty until proven innocent. You're turning the
but
entire.
he could just be mistaken, right? But
Yeah,
no,
but
I mean,
he is.
if you listen to what he says,
But he's telling you right now. I'm telling you how I feel. Right. So you have no reason to feel that I'm lying. So you trust me. This is how we treat each other. Each other always in this
in
universe.
general, not
Yeah.
always.
Of
I
course,
gotta go do
always.
something. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay.
Okay. Amber, are you there?
Yeah. What's up?
What do you think about what he said? Did you listen?
I'm not sure.
He's
Other than
Trump.
what I already saw, when Trump said he was intentionally not reading the report, like.
But I said Trump said that he has nothing, like he doesn't like the 2025 project. So Rover Da Vinci said, "Would you trust Trump?" So my answer was yes. I trust when somebody tells me something, I trust them. He said, "Then I have a bridge to sell you." So I told him, "No, that's when you."
Really, you should also believe what you see and like know to be true. So if you can verify the fact that someone who runs that
I don't need
project also
to.
works for him,
I don't need to.
then I think that you should
No,
question that.
no, I don't. I don't need to verify anything because then he said, "Then I have a bridge."
It's not even about the fact he may or may not have a hand in it. It's about the fact that if he doesn't know that people who are working for him are involved in that project, then there's a competency level problem.
No. The question is he lying when he says that he has nothing to do with the 25 project? So I told.
He's probably lying when he says plenty of shit, sorry, but that doesn't make him like a worse candidate than Kamala Harris.
No. Okay, but fine. We're talking about is he lying when he says he has nothing to do with the 25 project? Is he lying? So I told Da Vinci, I'm assuming why would he lie? So Da Vinci said, then I have a bridge to sell you. So I told Da Vinci, that's different. When you have an interest, then I don't trust you anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's no reason for Trump to lie. I don't know of a reason. As far as I know, Trump doesn't have a reason to lie. So I'm assuming he's telling us the truth. And this is the way we run the world, the way the world runs, the way we talk to people. I'm talking to you right now, and you're talking to me. Everything I'm saying, you're assuming I'm not lying. When I tell you my opinion about anything, your assumption is I have no reason to lie. Why would I lie? So for the same reason, why would Trump lie? You need to give me a reason. What does he have to gain in telling me a lie? If he says he doesn't like the 25 project, where is the gain? You need to show me a gain. You can't just say he's lying. You need to show me that he's gaining by lying. But you haven't shown that. So as long as you didn't show it, then
Theoretically, if he has members of this project working for him, then he would be gaining labor and potentially money. So I can see there would be a gain if that is true, but also if it is true, it should be something easy to verify. So I would verify it and then I would make a judgment.
Look, as far as I know, he has no reason to lie. I'm not saying he has no reason to hold a certain position. He has no reason to lie. He can just tell us the truth.
If he has people working for him,
Yeah.
then he has a reason to lie.
Why?
But I'm not going to say there's no reason to lie because that would just be ignoring the obvious.
Wait, what is his reason to lie? Tell me a reason he has to lie.
To be able to work with the people who are part of the project without being directly associated with it.
Wait, what? Again?
And that's a way to keep your hands clean, obviously.
What do you mean clean?
But like I don't even want to frame it that way because I agree with the project. Like, I don't want to act like Project 2025 is some like sneaky shit where it's like he's working with people on the inside. It's actually just like a very clear and concise outlined program that would keep a lot of crime off the street.
Okay, I honestly I barely know anything about the 25 project, but as far as I know, it's like it Trump could have said, yeah, I'm totally behind it, or he could have said, I'm totally against it, or he could have said, I don't know anything about it. He could have said
He
anything.
didn't say he doesn't know anything about it.
Right, but
That's
the point
basically
is,
exactly what he said.
no, but the point is, he can say anything, but there's no benefit in any, and no position has any benefit over any other position. He has no reason to lie. That's what I'm saying. It's not like if he would want to sell us a bridge, then you would say, oh wait, he has a reason to lie. He wants to make money from selling the bridge. Oh, then
Dude, he would still like theoretically have an incentive to lie. Like, I'm not gonna act like he
why?
is lying.
Why?
I
No.
just explained that to you. Like, he
What?
can turn
Because
that
he
into
wants to be the president of the
income.
United States.
How does lying about the 25 project position, his position, how does lying help him? How does lying help him? How? I honestly, I
Because
cannot.
he's hiding his true intentions, right? Like,
Why is that better than showing his true intention?
because people don't like Project 2025. It's got bad plans in it that don't make any sense. It's from like a conservative think tank called the Heritage Foundation.
Like what? But I don't. But he wants to get elected as a Republican. So he.
Yeah, okay. And
So
but not everybody who votes Republican will vote for anything, right? Like, he has to get more votes than the other candidate
So
for president.
you're saying that the 25 project is not popular among Republicans?
I don't even mean by like Republicans. I mean conservative voters and other people. Like,
It's Republican. I mean, I'm assuming that the Republicans are the people who are going. Let's define. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't understand the position. So Republican.
you're the one asserting that he has nothing to gain. Like, if there's nothing to gain
I'm asking.
to become
No,
president,
I'm not
then
asserting.
nobody would ever want to become president.
All I'm saying is, as far as I know, I don't know if that's an assertion. As far as I know, is that an assertion? No, it's as far as I know. What kind of an assertion is that? As far as I know, he has nothing to gain from lying about his position on the 25 project. As far as I know, there's no gain. It's a toss-up.
I don't know why you keep changing the subject to gain. It has nothing to do with gain anyway. I never brought up gain.
No,
Amber never
gain.
mentioned
No,
gain.
it's about
The
lying.
issue is
No,
it's not about lying. It's about
the
him
definition.
seeing
No.
conflicting things. He's already praised the project, and now he's gone back and said, "I didn't even read it." Like, well, which is it?
Hold on. That's a contradiction. Fine. If you can catch him on a contradiction, then that is still not lying. Lying, you need intent to commit a crime. You need for lying as a crime, you need intent for the crime. You need intent to commit the crime. So in order
Lying isn't a crime. I don't know why you're saying that.
No.
I mean, fraud is a crime.
No. Let's define lying as a crime. So whatever. In order to accuse him of lying, right? It's an accusation. In order to accuse someone of a crime like lying, let's define lying as a crime. In order to accuse someone of lying, you need to prove, besides the fact that he was wrong, besides the fact that he contradicted himself, that's not lying. You also need intent. You need to prove intent to commit the crime. You need intent to commit the crime of lying. So just the fact that he contradicted himself, one time he said yes, the other time he said no, that's not lying. That's not proof he lied.
Right, but it makes him unreliable. That's the thing.
Fine, that's not lying. If you want to move the goalpost, then I'll move it for you. That's fine. But if you want to accuse him of the crime of lying after we define lying as a crime, then we haven't proved.
Well, I can accuse people of whatever I want, right? Unless they're going to take me to court for slander. Like, I don't know what the issue is here, right? For all intents and purposes, it appears like he's lying. Like, I mean,
no, you have zero evidence for a lie.
That's an assertion that you're
No,
making,
you have
right? Like
zero
that I have zero evidence. There's
It's not
loads of
assertion.
evidence.
I
You're just
just
dismissing the evidence and saying that it's a lie,
no,
or that I'm, you know, I'm not able to
no.
provide evidence.
You didn't
And there's
prove.
a video
Okay.
I just
No.
And
linked in the
someone,
side chat.
okay, I was literally just about to ask for evidence, so thank you for being me to it. But like again, this is a claim that's completely verifiable. So why don't we just verify the claim and then analyze what he has to gain from there? Because
Wait.
if we know who the people are and who he could potentially be lobbying with, then we would know what he has to gain from it.
But 1 second, we can come back to this, but let me just finish up what we just said. So we never proved, Da Vinci, you never proved intent to commit the crime of lying. The fact that a person contradicted himself, one day said one thing, the next day said the opposite, that's not a lie. That's a contradiction. That's not a lie. There's many ways to resolve a contradiction. He forgot, he said, he changed his mind. There's an endless list of ways to resolve a contradiction. In order to prove a crime, you need, on top of it, you need intent. You need to prove intent. So as long as
I don't know what you mean by intent. Okay, if you shot someone else, and I saw you shoot someone else, you say I didn't shoot someone else. Like I don't know what you mean by intent. It doesn't matter what the intention was.
Yes, it does.
Like
It's not murder. Shooting someone is not murder. That's killing. There's killing and there's murder. For murder, you
It
need
could even
intent.
just be an accident. Like that's not human.
Right. It could be an
We
accident.
need to go that far.
Could be many things. You need intent.
right, well, that's going to be a charge anyway. It's going to be negligence, or it's going to be
that's not
manslaughter, or some other thing.
Yeah, that's not.
But those
murder.
are serious crimes too.
No, whatever. But it's not murder. It's not. It's not. It's not a. It's it's a different level. But you need intent. For manslaughter, you might not need intent. Manslaughter is you can accidentally kill someone, so it's negligence. That's a crime in of itself. That's fine. You don't for that you don't need. You need intent to have wanted to do whatever you did or whatever. It's up to the courts. But we're trying to prove Trump lied, so we need intent. We need to prove intent, that he had an intent to commit the crime of lying. I don't see how we can avoid it. Until then, he's innocent, just like I am innocent of any crime, just like you're innocent. If we're gonna just say people are liars nilly-willy, then this is the end of all conversations. So what's the point of having?
Well,
It
I
isn't
would
the end of
say
all
if
conversations.
he
This
has
is like pure.
evidence that there are people working with the guy, then like
there's loads of evidence.
obviously that's
Yeah, and you just
like
keep
not
dismissing it.
nothing. That's not a willy-nilly accusation.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
hear
it's just
that.
really.
Okay, so what's the accusation? So you're saying that
I linked the video in the side chat if
no,
you want to watch
just
it.
not just tell me. No, I'm too tired. I'll fall asleep. I'm sorry. So just tell me the accusation that he is can you state the accusation?
He has connection and support from the Heritage Foundation, which created Project 2025, and his vice president is pro Project 2025, right?
But you need intent. Show me that he intended.
You keep saying that. No, you don't need intent. I don't
Yes,
know why
you
you
do.
keep asserting this.
That's
No,
it's
you
not
don't.
a lie. You
listen,
can,
and not to the way that you're
okay,
talking about.
okay.
This is really weird. You've got this legal chaos standard that you're applying to things that aren't a legal case.
No, it's
It's
not
not in
lying.
court about
No,
anything.
being wrong is not lying. I can be wrong. I could say one thing and then say
I mean,
the
you could be, but I
opposite.
don't know what that has to do with the claim.
It's not lying. You need, in order to prove lying, you need intent.
I didn't say that I was going to prove lying. I just said
So
that he
it's
was
not-
lying.
So
I didn't say that I was going to prove
we
that
have
he was
no
lying.
evidence that he's
Those are
lying. Then he's
different
not
things.
lying.
That's
Innocent
not
and-
true. You're
that's-
saying that he has no evidence. No evidence. I never claimed I didn't have any evidence.
So we have the presumption of innocence. He's an innocent person until
You don't
proven-
have the presumption of
Of
innocence.
course you
That's
do.
ridiculous.
What do you
I
mean?
don't know why you believe
Wait,
that.
are
That's
you?
insane.
So are you not innocent of any crime until we prove it? Or are you guilty? What?
I don't know what you're talking about. Like you're
Do you
changing
believe in the
different things.
presumption? What? It's called the presumption of innocence. This is the
Yeah,
foundation.
people misuse the presumption of innocence all the time, right?
No.
Like there's lots of innocent people in prison, even with the presumption of innocence, right? Like so, it's clearly not working that well.
Okay. So let's create another case that it's not
Well, I
working.
don't know why you
so
keep
well.
creating cases, right?
Wait,
No, you keep creating cases.
Do you want
like,
to assume?
which involved the law,
Wait,
right? Like, I'm not
no,
imprisoning the guy. I'm not
Wait,
going after the guy.
no.
I didn't do anything to the guy.
Okay, look. Am I lying during this conversation? Do you think I'm expressing my opinion, or am I lying? Am I misrepresenting my
I don't
own?
have any evidence that you're lying. I mean,
Okay, so I'll ask you
yeah,
again. Am I lying? Yes or no?
probably not.
What do you
Like, I
mean?
don't know how I would know if someone's lying or not lying.
Look, how do you live your
Like,
life when
there's different standards
Okay, how
in
do you
different
live?
contexts.
Okay, how do you fine? How do you live your life? You walk down the street, you ask someone for directions. Do you think they are lying when they give you the directions? A random person on the street, do you think they're lying?
It could be lying, sure, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have to see if the directions work out or not. Right? Like, I can't assess beforehand.
When you turn on Google Maps, do you think that Google Maps is lying?
I don't know what you mean by lying. Like, that's just a map, right? Like,
No.
it might give me bad
But
directions,
somebody
sure. I don't
created
rely only on Google Maps.
somebody created the app. He could have this the app could be lying to you, like that person
Sure,
who created the app. Yeah. So what do
Yeah,
you
they could be
assume?
lying.
So
Heck,
what do you
moguls
assume?
lie.
So what do you assume? How do you live your life? You assume Google Maps is lying to you or is telling the truth?
I say that, I can use this information as long as I fact check it and cross-reference it with other information.
So, what do
I don't just believe everything that Google Maps says. I mean, that would be crazy. Like,
So
I could end up in a different country. Like, that would just
I
be nuts.
see. I see. Okay.
Yeah. We're off the cliff, dude.
So you
Yeah, exactly. Like, people have got stranded in the middle of nowhere thanks to like these GPS.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when they first came about, like, it was chaos.
That's not lying.
That's what I'm
being
saying.
wrong.
It's just verify the
No,
information.
no,
The
that's not.
information is out
That's
there.
not lying. Wait.
Don't just rely on what people say
Obviously,
to
a
you.
map's not going to lie.
No, that's not lying. That's being wrong. So it's possible for the app to be wrong. But what do you think? That the app is lying or the app is telling the truth? It might be wrong, but is it lying?
You're the one moving the goalposts here.
No,
Like, I didn't say a
I
map
asked.
could
I'm
be lying.
always using just lying. I never used any other word. Just lying. That's all I care for. I'm just curious how you live your life. Do you assume a stranger is lying to you?
Yeah,
or
I don't just believe everything everybody says.
that
I take the
has
possibility they
nothing.
could be telling the truth.
Nothing.
They could be lying, or they could be right. They could be wrong.
Okay.
That's how I live my life. You asked me
Okay.
how I live my life, and I'm just telling you.
Okay. Do you live your life lying to people, or in general, are you honest?
I think in general, I'm
What do you mean
fairly
you
honest.
think? I'm lost. I'll ask you again. How do you live your life? Do you, in general, lie to people? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you have any reason to think that anyone else in the universe is different from you about that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Namely, like, let's take
There are people
me.
who are compulsive liars.
Let's take me. No.
Like-
Let's take me. Let's take me. What's
Okay.
your feeling? Am I different than you in that respect? Yes or no?
I don't know you.
Okay. As far as you know, am I different in that respect? Yes or no? As far as you know.
Probably not.
As far as you know, yes or no? Am I different? Yes or no? As far as you know. What do you mean?
Well, as far as I know, no.
Okay. Amber, as far as you know, Amber, is she different from you in that respect?
I don't believe so.
Just yes or no. As far as you know, Amber, is she different from you? As far as you know.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, as far as you know, you can't answer with I don't
No,
think
no,
so.
it's-
As far as you know.
No.
As far as you know, is she different? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. As far as you know, Trump, is he different from
I
you?
think so. I think he is different.
He is okay. How is he different? How is he different?
Well, there's different like things that he's been asked about, and he gives like different answers to, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's just got a different personality to me.
How?
Normally, that's what I consider like a benefit, but if the dude's got people working for him, it's like you can't deny that that's an incentive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just
Yeah,
a very clear connection, and like I want evidence of it because I'm not just gonna be like, oh, boo-hoo, because like I haven't seen that with my own eyes. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, that has nothing to do with anything, like, because that just seems willfully ignorant and like just random idol worship.
No, I'm just asking, is Trump different
But he
than
does
us.
have something to gain, right? He does have, like, if the Heritage Foundation is an organization that funds
Can you prove
different
it?
political campaigns, and he
What
gets
does
money
he
from
have?
that.
What does he
But
have
his
to
campaign gets
gain?
funding from different institutes.
What does he have? Okay, hold on. Slow down. Let's do this methodically. Amber, you're making noise. Show me what he has to gain from lying about what he said about the
Yeah,
tweet.
dude, he is trying to. He actually showed you the video. At this point, I'm like upset that you didn't look at it, but you're gonna repeatedly tell him to show you things. Why should he show you things if then he tries to and then you don't look at them?
No, I'm asking for, whatever. Like, I'm not asking for evidence. I'm just asking, tell me what it is. I'll trust you. Whatever you tell me, I'll just trust you. If I don't trust you, then
But I
I'll.
need to see evidence to. I need to see evidence to assess what I think would be considered like initiative to conduct himself in that manner. So like I can't proceed without evidence.
I heard his interview on Lex Friedman about the 25 Project. I heard what he said.
You don't think people will just tell lies during an interview? I don't care
You
who it
have
is.
to show me that he has something to gain from lying.
We're
Otherwise,
trying to. He's literally trying to show it to you, and at this point, I'm not able to
Show
view it
me?
because you won't move on, and you're just
Wait,
arguing with
to
the guy.
gain,
So just
show
view
me.
what he's trying to show you, and then we can assess whether
He
or not
didn't
we
tell
think
me.
that that's something to gain.
You're gonna show. What are you gonna show me? What gain? Show me the gain. What does he have?
But he
We're
wants
trying
campaign
to look at
finances.
it.
He wants campaign
Oh my
finances
God.
from the Heritage Foundation, right? He's going to want money and stuff like that. And he's going to need support from these institutes.
Show me what he has to gain from lying about his position.
But what does that have to do
Holy
with the game?
shit, stop repeating yourself at this point. We're
Keep saying it over
literally
and over again,
talking
dude.
about
Like,
it.
Remember,
Yeah,
you
this
just
is
keep
what's
saying over and over
frustrating.
again.
Stop.
He gains the presidency. He gains campaign funding. Okay, he gains more social approval.
Show me.
Show you what? What is
Yeah,
he
and if he has someone
Those are the
working
things
with
that he
him, then he
gained.
gains like immediately an income. So like, yeah, I'm not going to turn around and be like, that's nothing.
Amber, one at a time. You're both yelling simultaneously, so that's useless. I cannot hear you both simultaneously. I can barely hear one of you. So you asserting that that he's gonna gain the presidency by lying, that's very nice. Now prove it. Show me
Prove
how
what?
by
There's an
lying. Show me
opportunity for
how
him,
by.
like,
Mhm.
sorry, go on.
No, show me how by lying about his position he's going to gain the presidency. How? I honestly, I don't see it. I just can't. I don't see it. This is like you might as well tell me that. What do you mean? Because 1 + 1 = 17.5. Therefore, he's going to become president. I'm like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Wait a minute. I have to ask you the reverse question. Like, have you never seen a politician
Amber, you're
ever lie
making
about
noise.
anything? Like, so you've never seen a politician lie about anything? Like did Bill Clinton lie? Like, I mean, like, this is just strange.
I don't. I mean, you're changing the topic completely.
It's not changing the topic. I'm trying to ask you about the concept of lying. Like, is anybody lying ever?
You're
Like,
asking me,
like, you know,
do people lie ever? That's a good question. That's really a good question. Do people lie ever? Yeah. Even I lie sometimes. Yes. People lie
so
sometimes.
knowing that people lie sometimes.
Yes.
Right? Have politicians lied?
Yes.
Okay,
Politicians
and have politicians
lied.
in power lied for some kind of gain?
Yes. Let's assume yes.
Okay, so what is it about Trump that's different that this wouldn't apply to him?
I'm not saying that has 0.000 to do with this conversation. What
It
do you
does
mean?
have something to do with
So
this conversation.
let's say
You're saying that he has nothing to gain,
let's say,
and that's the thing. Like, that's an assertion that you're
you
making,
have
like
to
pure
show
knowledge.
me
Yeah.
You
what
don't want to gather any more knowledge.
Oh my God, bro, we are trying to show you.
Amber, that's not helpful. It's not helpful. I'm sure you're trying. I'm sure you're doing your best. I'm doing my best to show you that you have not accomplished what you think maybe in your mind you have accomplished. You are getting nowhere. I'm trying to show you're getting nowhere. You're being completely irrational. I'm trying to show it to you. I'm being
there's a
no.
difference between
I honestly,
me.
I'd rather quit this discussion and go back to my quantum physics research. But I'm just trying to show you you're being irrational, and you repeating and laughing and getting upset.
But dude, you've been repeating yourself this whole time. Like we don't like
Yeah,
it any more than you do.
I'm sure. I'm just.
but you're saying
I don't know.
irrational. Like I have to make inferences, and I have to just make a decision. Right?
About
Like not every decision I make is going to be based on concrete evidence all the time. Like, sometimes you just have to go with what seems like it's right.
So you're
Yeah, I'm gonna make an inference based off of evidence, and like if he's trying to show me evidence, I'd rather view the
Amber,
evidence than argue over and
Amber,
over again.
no. No. One at a time. One of you, and then I get to respond. If one of you speaks, and then the other of you speaks, then that's dog. I think this is called dogpiling. Then the conversation becomes hopeless. Because I'm right now against two of you. So one of you speaks, I get to respond. The other speaks, I get to respond. I need to be able to respond. So, Da Vinci, what is that noise? My God.
That is the kettle. I'm boiling the kettle.
Okay.
For a cup of coffee.
So where are you in Scotland? Are you like in the mountains?
No, I'm in the countryside of Ireland, in the west of Ireland.
The west of... Oh, you're Irish? Aren't you Scottish?
Yes, I'm Irish. No, I'm not Scottish.
Wait, where is it more beautiful, Scotland or Ireland? Or are these the
I've
same?
never been to Scotland, so I actually don't know. I imagine they're very similar.
So is it like all green and mountainous?
Well, it's not mountainous where I live, but
It's
it's nice and
flatland?
green. Yeah, pretty much flat.
Are the chicks
Depends on where you live, but
Are all the chicks red hair?
no. There's not that many redheads, actually. They're pretty rare.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
Ireland...
being a redhead is like a Nordic thing. It's a Viking.
Oh.
Yeah, there are redheads in Ireland, but
Yeah, but
there's
it's
not that
because
many.
the Vikings like raped a bunch of women.
Yeah.
You think they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all invaded each other, yeah.
So I heard that it all started with a population explosion in the Nords. For some reason, they had a population explosion. They just ended up leaving and terrorizing all of Europe.
Yeah.
Interesting. Today they are the nicest people. Like Europeans in general are very nice. You wouldn't think these are these are the terrorists. I mean, these are the barbarians of 1,000 years ago or something, or 2,000 years ago. Wait, is there a Jewish community in Ireland?
I don't know of any. There could be some, yeah. I don't know if there's like a big community though. It'd be pretty small.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go back to doing my research, unless you want to argue about something else. I think. Look, it's not like I support Trump. There's plenty of terrible things that Trump said that we can review, and I'll tell you exactly why he's wrong. He's wrong about 99.9% of the things that I've heard him say. Tariffs, I actually support him on tariffs. That's one of the very few things he's not wrong about.
Yeah, people say free trade all the time, and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I mean, you need some level of protectionism in your country.
No,
like otherwise it's just chaos.
No, that you're wrong about. So
Well, that's why he's bringing in the tariff. So
Well,
I don't know how.
the reason
I mean,
the reason he's wrong about the reason. He's correct about the tariffs, but the reason is wrong. So the tariffs, in my opinion, tariffs are good compared to income tax. So if it's either income tax or tariffs, tariffs are better. Amber, you're making noise because.
Oh, that's me making noises.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Amber.
I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm just shaking something.
It doesn't matter. So tariffs are better because tariffs are a tax on consumption. So I think it's better to tax consumption because then you're disincentivizing consumption. So you're incentivizing saving. You're telling people like spend less on your immediate quality of life. So indirectly, you're forcing them to save, and you're forcing them to save for the future. So the future is better. There's going to be more investment in the long term of the economy.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Right. It's not that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So free trade is very good. Free trade is one of maybe the best thing. Like in general, economic freedom is the best thing you could have to become wealthy.
Right. I mean, ideally it would be, but like if it's not reciprocated, right, then that's a problem, right?
No, just the opposite. If it's not reciprocated, then it's even better.
If it's not reciprocated, then it's not free. Like, I don't know.
Then it's even better. Free trade, if you're allowing, I mean, you're talking about free trade. So so there's going to be an imbalance of trade. So here, let's pretend the following. So I'm making things. I make, let's say, let's make it simple. Let's say me and you live on an island all alone, and I am an expert in catching fish and drying them. So I have all these dried fish, and you're an expert in getting coconuts. So you have all these coconuts. Now we can
Reminds me
trade.
of Coconut Island. You ever see Bosch's Coconut Island? You ever see that?
No, I never saw that.
Okay, never mind.
We can trade. Like I can spend some of my time getting coconuts, but I would have to learn how to climb coconut trees, which is an art. And until I figure it out, I'm going to get hurt. It's going to take me a long time. I'd rather just become even a bigger expert in getting fish. I like fixing my nets, making bigger, better nets and spears, and traps, and then we can get crabs. I could just improve. Like, I can go down the rabbit hole of catching all types of fish, and you can go down the rabbit hole of getting all types of coconuts and stuff. So we can each, it has a name. This is
The division of labor.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. This is the secret. The secret of wealth. One of the secrets of wealth is the division of labor. But without trade, you can't really enjoy division of labor. Once you have trade, once you have free trade, then you specialize in your niche. I specialize in my niche, and I become super duper effective, and you become super duper effective, and our time then becomes super effective. So like in 2-3 hours of work per day, we can have a great life. Especially if we trade, then we each have both fish and coconuts and so on. And you can imagine, add a few more people, one becomes an expert at building houses, one becomes an expert at, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so
what does this have to do with countries? So like a country is specialized in a particular area, like Taiwan makes,
let's imagine,
chips or something, like a TSMC or something. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. So let's go back to me and you on the island. So let's imagine that I am a free trader, and I'm willing to sell you my fish, and I'm willing to buy your coconuts, but you're against free trade. You're willing to sell me your coconuts, but you're unwilling to buy my fish. And instead of buying my fish, you say, okay, let's just have a credit system, and I'll just owe you. So I'm buying coconuts from you, but I cannot pay you with fish because you're against free trade, right? You're like China. So you want the trade imbalance. And instead of me giving you fish in return for your coconuts, I just build a debt. I become a debtor nation. I become a debtor person. I have a bigger and bigger debt to you as time goes on, right? There's a trade imbalance, and now there is a budget, or not a budget, but anyway, there is a credit imbalance. So I owe you more and more money. We can say that each fish we can assign it a price, and I end up owing you a lot of money. But my quality of life, meanwhile, is very high because I eat both fish and coconuts. Meanwhile, you're only eating coconuts. You're not enjoying my fish. Yeah, but you're sitting on piles of cash. Like, we could be a cash society. Me and you we could have cash. Let's say we came to the island with a bunch of dollars. So I keep giving you more and more and more dollars. Yeah, but you're not doing anything with all this money. You're just sitting on the money, or maybe it's a credit system. Maybe we just have a board and we write numbers on it. So I owe you more and more and more and more. But meanwhile, my quality of life is high and your quality of life is low. So what's wrong with the trade imbalance?
Well, firstly, I mean, it's assuming that there's a trade imbalance, right? I don't know what that has to do with the conversation that we're having, how trade that isn't free creates this imbalance necessarily. I mean, just because you don't have free trade doesn't mean you're not trading at all, and it doesn't mean that you're not spending any money.
No, wait.
And it's also about restricting and having like skills. Like when you outsource something to someone else, if you can do that yourself, then you're now gone from not being dependent on something outside your country to being dependent on labor from another country.
So,
and if they want to cut that off, they can. Like, people have
Fine.
leverage over one another, right? Like,
Fine, let them cut it off. I don't care. Whenever they want.
okay, but like, if I need fish to live and you don't need coconuts to live, I mean, there's going to be somebody's going to care here, right? Like, if they starve to death, they might care. It depends on what their values are. If they don't care about that.
Look, I mean, I don't care. I mean, the planet is big. If you don't want to supply me coconuts tomorrow morning, first of all, I'm not going to die. And second of all, I'll find somebody else. Let's say there's other people. I'll find somebody else. Right now, you're the best supplier of coconuts, and you're willing to accept my credit for coconuts. So heck, I don't care. Look, if tomorrow morning you cut off the supply of coconuts, I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'm not going to deal with tomorrow's problems today. Why would
But
I
that's
want
just
to?
like myopic, right? You need to be prepared for a thing. Like, think about a drought or a famine, or a monsoon. You have to be prepared for things before they happen, right? Like, if they've happened before, like if you've dealt with an earthquake before, you might have to deal with that again, right? Thinking ahead, planning ahead, can be beneficial. I mean, sometimes it can be bad.
But
planning
how?
ahead
How?
can make you paranoid and things like that. But
How?
what?
Look, it's at a price, right? I am an expert in getting fish. If you want me to also be an expert in getting coconuts, there's gonna be a price to pay. I'm not going to be as much of an expert in getting fish, and it's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a big investment, and this is just in case. Look at the investment. It's a big investment. It is just in case. Why would you want to do that?
For security, right? Like, if I need fish and I can't get fish, I'm gonna die, right? Like I need other ways of getting sustenance, or I'll starve to death, right? If I can't catch fish, then I'm done, right?
So let's get back to the US. So Trump thinks, let's assume Trump thinks, or you think that for the US to be reliant on China for all these products, that's lack of security. But
it depends on the context. But like, if you have a bad relationship with China and they're like communist dictators, then that can be bad, right? Like,
if that happens,
it isn't necessarily bad, right? But it's just, you want to have your, like, if they invade Taiwan and you can't get microchips or whatever, or superconductors or whatever the hell, semiconductors. But that's a problem, right? Like you now have to go to South Korea or somewhere else where they make chips, which I mean you might be able to do okay, but now the Chinese have effectively put a massive restriction on the supply of the thing, so they now control the price because they have the number one supplier of the thing, right?
Yeah, but if that ever happens, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with anything as it happens. Why would you want to deal with it ahead of time? Like there's so many
Because then you
things.
have the initiative, right?
Look, so many
Like,
things.
I mean, if you see someone preparing to do a thing, and they're saying they're going to do a thing like invade Taiwan, why would you ignore that and be like, well, I'll deal with it next week? I mean, unless there's some reason you don't have the resources to dedicate to solve that problem.
Look, if you think they are going to, like, if you ask me, if you're really afraid China is going to invade Taiwan, I would just give Taiwan a bunch of F-35s. I don't know why Taiwan is not purchasing F-35s. Like a single F-35 can wreak havoc on China's mainland. But certainly, like if Taiwan buys 1,000 F-35s, it could probably destroy all of China.
Okay, but wait a minute. If you have free trade and the Chinese say they'll pay more for F-35s, you're now selling F-35s to your enemy, right? Like,
right. So I wouldn't sell. Fine. Then you could say since China is not, it's not it's my enemy. It seems to be my enemy. Then I'm going to restrict sales of like F-35s and other weapons. Yeah, that I can understand. But if you're really worried about Taiwan, I'm honestly not understanding Taiwan. Taiwan seems to be very wealthy. A single F-35,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know how much is an F-35. I think it's maybe $250 million or something. It's reasonably priced. They can probably afford 1,000. I don't think the U.S. can ramp up production for 1,000, but they should be purchasing, at least once, like at least one a month, at least. They should order 100 at least. Certainly 10.
Okay.
Certainly 1.
But you now need like an aircraft carrier, and you now have to land them somewhere. Like,
no, you don't
okay,
need.
the two issues are.
No, you don't need.
But there's not that much fuel on it. How far does an F-35 travel? Like,
no, it's for defense. You get an F-35 for defense. You get an F-35. You can get other. You start buying military equipment. Is Taiwan buying military equipment from the U.S.? Not that I've heard
I
of anything.
assume so.
Not as much.
Well, I guess the United States provides them with security, so I mean, maybe not.
So why isn't Taiwan? But that's like the U.S. has to pay for this anyway. So this ordeal with Taiwan, I'm really confused about. So I don't know. So if you really wanted to protect Taiwan, then fine, you can protect it. There's many ways to protect Taiwan. You don't need to protect Taiwan. Taiwan can protect Taiwan. But Taiwan doesn't seem to be so. Look, I don't know. And I don't know really how important all these chips are. I honestly, I never got into this. It might be, it might not be. It might be that if Taiwan goes, we'll lose production of chips for I don't know how long. And very soon the prices of chips will skyrocket even more. And just certain places on the planet will just ramp up production because the prices will just be worth it, because of economic freedom.
But this is like magical thinking that you can just increase the production of a thing, right? Like it takes time to produce more chips. You have to build a factory that produces the chips, right, to meet demand. You have to train people.
Yeah, but that's
who know chip manufacturing and.
But it's not magical. It's just economical. So you think
but
that
it doesn't.
You think.
Sorry, go on.
I think that you think that you're going to prepare for this Taiwan invasion by.
Well, America already prepared for it, right? So
what?
I don't know what the issue is there. America's already prepared for that kind of thing.
No, but I think we started the conversation about let's yeah, I mean, let's restart. So about tariffs. So I'm pro tariffs versus income tax. I'm not
That's
like
fine.
in general, if we could only have, I think, if we could just have tariffs and no income tax, I think it would be better for the economy than all income tax and no tariffs. I mean, assuming the government has a budget, the government, let's say, has either way, it has a budget. So it's going to get the budget either from income tax or from tariffs. Let's assume that. So my intuition is it's better for the economy if the government gets its budget from tariffs only. That's my intuition. So in that, I agree with Trump. Now, Trump thinks, and you think, that it's good to protect the economy. It's good to protect your local producers using tariffs. That I think you're wrong about. It's not good to protect your local producers in general. In general.
Okay, if you don't protect your local producers, what are people locally going to do? Like,
I don't care. Why should they do?
so you don't care about yourself,
No,
right?
no, no,
You're
no.
talking
Listen,
about yourself. You lose
no,
your job.
no, no,
You lose
no,
your
no.
profession. It's been outsourced to someone else,
No,
and you're
no.
unemployed.
Yeah.
Now you have to retrain and get different skills.
No, you
Which
don't.
I mean, you may or may not be able to do.
No, you don't. No, no, you're not. Look, no,
Yes,
no,
you
no.
do.
No,
Yes, you do.
listen. No, it's a little bit more nuanced. So, losing your job, you could call that unemployed, but also you can call it being on vacation, right? When you're on vacation, you could say you're unemployed.
Okay, but there's very big difference
Yes,
between
yes,
you
yes.
forcibly
Yes, yes, yes. But
losing your
imagine.
job and you voluntarily
Yes, yes.
taking time off to
Yes.
get another profession and retrain.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes, yes. But you don't go to work. You don't have a job because a job is a good thing. You get a job because a job is a bad thing, but you're willing to do this bad thing that is bad for you, dealing with a bad employer and waking up early every morning and wasting all your valuable free time. You're willing to forego all this damage to your life for a wage. And then you can take the wage and you can spend it on incrementing your quality of life and then taking vacations. Really, you hate your job. A job is not a good thing. A job is a bad thing. The good thing is the salary. That's different than the job. If you can separate the two, right? You do the job for the salary. You trade your job and you get your salary. You give the job, which is a bad. You doing work is bad. No one does work unless they have to. People.
I don't know about that, but some people enjoy work. But
Very
yeah,
few.
I mean, generally that's true.
Very few people, even those that wake up in the morning and really enjoy what they do, they wouldn't do it if they wouldn't get something for it. If they wouldn't get like.
Well, I mean, that's obvious about doing anything. I mean, you wouldn't eat food unless
Exactly.
you got something from it. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know that makes jobs bad necessarily.
Look, the fact is, no one would, if you agree that no one would wake up in the morning and go to work unless they would get something for it, that means work is bad. That's the definition
Well,
of
I
bad.
don't know what you mean by something for it. Like, you might just enjoy work, and that's something that you're getting out of work. You're occupied. You've got skills.
I don't think there's a single person on the planet that would go to work without getting something for it. I don't think that person exists.
People are moderators on Discord for free. People answer questions on Stack Overflow for free. People write computer programs and put them on GitHub for free. Like,
I'll say it again. I don't think anyone who goes to work in the morning would continue doing that, right? People who go to work for a salary, I don't think a single one exists who would continue doing that unless they would continue receiving something for it.
that's because they need to pay their rent, right? They need some activity to like that they do that gives them money in return and then be able to pay their bills.
Anyway, we agree. But anyway, the point is, so let's get back. I keep getting lost in the discussion. Plus, I'm starving again. I keep starving every time I have a discussion. I starve. Anyway, look, the point is, losing your job is a good thing. It's not the job that I care. So I said I don't care that they lose their jobs. Neither do they. Losing a job is a good thing, but they lose the salary. Yes, but imagine they don't lose the salary. So
there's places like Detroit that have not recovered from this, right? Like
that's
Detroit
correlation.
couldn't produce cars
That's correlation.
at like a lower cost
That's
than their
no, no.
competitors.
Okay. But we're talking about abstract concepts right now. So I don't
Sure,
like if
but
we.
I guess if I make it abstract, then if you lose your job and then you get a lower paying, lower quality job.
No. But listen. No. But we're talking about. So imagine there is no tariffs, right? So So my claim is that you don't want to protect your local industry. So you said, but people would lose their jobs. I said, wonderful. What do I mean? I mean, so if the Chinese are willing to have a trade imbalance and they're willing to lend us money to have this trade imbalance, then fantastic. I'm not going to work. The Chinese are going to send me a laptop and and an iPhone. They're just going to supply me with everything I could ever dream of, and I don't have to work. That's fantastic. That's the dream situation.
Right.
So that's why.
But that's not just what's happening there, right? They're also
Yes, it is.
it's like that plus
That's
like a combination of other things, right? Because sorry, go on.
No. So in general, you don't want to protect your local industry. The local industry losing their jobs. If China is sending us stuff and I don't have to work. Imagine I don't have to work for the stuff. That's wonderful. And then you're saying, oh, but there's other things. Okay, we can talk about the other things, but the notion that we need to protect our local industry, it's wrong, regardless
No,
of.
I agree that it's wrong in principle, right? But like in practical terms, you're giving power over to other people, and you have to make sure that you have better opportunities available, or you're going to make better opportunities available. You know, like obviously, if you spend all day doing some menial labor task, you're not doing the thing that's going to produce the most value for the economy. So if you outsource that, you can do bigger, better things. I mean, I totally agree with that.
Okay,
but
look,
like
we can continue the discussion, but just so it's like you said, it's more complicated. I agree, it's more complicated. Anyway, let me see. How long have I been streaming? It's almost 3 hours. Anyway, do you have to go? You can stay? What's your timeline?
I don't know. Probably go soon.
Go soon. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go. I'll eat maybe. You know what? Let's just finish this up. Just one more thing. So about the free trade. So I don't think it's good to protect your local producers. That's like being an overprotective parent. For the same reason that you don't want to be an overprotective parent. You want to expose your children to the universe, to the harsh reality. You want your children to be aware of reality, of life. So for the same reason, you don't want to protect your local industry. Your local industry needs to compete on the world stage. And when it competes on the world stage, it improves. And this improvement is good for everyone. It's good for all the consumers of your local industry, including your local, including your own people. So your own people. So let's say the U.S. government is going to protect the phone producers in the U.S. Imagine. So the U.S. is going to restrict the importation of an iPhone and stuff like iPhone and cell phones. So what do you think is going to happen? So the local producers.
iPhones are an American product, so I don't know why they would do that. That doesn't make any sense. It would be Huawei
Fine, but
Huawei,
there's going
whatever,
to be
they wouldn't.
an iPhone. Then let's imagine the iPhone will get produced in the U.S., but now the iPhone doesn't have any competition. What do you think is going to happen to the iPhone if there's going to be if the competition to the iPhone in the U.S. is restricted? What do you think is going to happen to the iPhone? Is it going to improve, or improve less, or even deteriorate? What do you think?
If they make more sales, then they can spend more money on R&D to improve the phone.
But if you have less okay, so let's say you have less competition. You, as a runner, let's say you're a runner, and I need, like, you want to win gold medal, but I remove all the competition, so you have no one to compete with. Is it going to make you a faster runner or a slower runner?
I don't know if it has any effect on running ability.
What do you mean?
Like, running ability is biological. Like, I mean,
no, but you can run.
Yeah.
You can run now. You have no one to compete with. You can run at
Yeah,
any.
but I still want to do better. I still want to improve my
Why?
time.
Why?
Like, competing with other people doesn't
Why?
magically make you run
Why?
faster.
You
Like,
get
that
the
doesn't
gold.
make sense.
You get the gold medal either way. Why would you want to run faster? You have no one to compete with. You get the gold
Because I
medal.
just want to be the fastest, right? Like,
You are the
it depends on what
fastest.
your motivation is.
No more competition. I take away the competition.
This is like a terrible example. Like, I mean,
No. Why?
having competition in a running race doesn't make you faster. Like, I don't
Of
understand.
course it does. Of course it does. What do you mean? Of course it does. Because
no.
because you have competition, the competition pushes you to improve. What do you mean? The competition is an incentive to improve. What do you mean?
It's one. Okay, yeah, competition is one incentive to improve, but that's not the only incentive to improve. And your running ability is going to be related to your biology, not to other people, right?
Yeah,
like,
but why would I want to, like, if I look, when I run fast, I'm taking a chance that I'll fall and hurt myself. People who go to the Olympics, these in general, their lifespans are short and their health deteriorates fast. They all suffer like health issues. They're all broken by their mid-20s. They're all broken. So, but that's because they're pushing their bodies way beyond their natural abilities. Some of them take drugs. A lot of them take all sorts of drugs. This is competition.
right, but that's against the rules. Like, I'm not understanding.
Yeah, but they break the rules. They do everything to win. So imagine you take away the competition. What are you gonna get?
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
this is. I don't know.
I don't know what we're talking about. Right? It's just kind of nonsense.
It's
like, I mean,
not good.
Like, if I'm going to take steroids,
it's
which
not
is
good.
against the rules, to get faster, like
Yeah.
I'm Lance Armstrong or something.
Well, you're
like,
gonna get slower. You're going to decrease the performance of your athletes. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not judging. I'm just saying you're gonna, if you remove the motivation of your athletes, you're gonna get worse athletes by definition of athletes. Whether so the same
right,
goes
but,
for
like,
a
it
local
depends what
business.
they're motivated by. Right? If they're motivated by the money and not to compete with other people, then it's the money that's the major motivator, right?
But if I take away your competitors, then I'm taking away certainly one of your incentives, if not all of your incentives.
You're only taking away some competitors, right? You're not taking away all competitors. Like, people still race each other in the United States without going to, like, the Olympics and racing people internationally.
Okay, look,
people can produce. It's more than one phone company in the United States.
Okay, so but fine, but you're removing competition. You're removing competition from China, which seems like it has.
You're not removing it. You're just increasing the cost of it, right? Like,
right, but
just disincentivizing. Like,
but
you didn't ban
you're
Chinese products.
protecting. Look, by protecting the local industry, you end up hurting your local industry. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like an overprotective parent. By protecting the children, you're hurting the children. You're hurting their survival, their long-term survival potential. You're hurting it.
I don't know what sense this makes. That there was a time when the personal computer was a new thing. Like, like Steve Wozniak made the computer. Like, was he competing with someone else? Like, he just made, like, he connected like a monitor to like a computer, right? Like, he didn't like
I don't know.
I didn't.
I don't know the specifics. I honestly, I
So
don't
these
know.
are bad examples because phones were largely created by government spending. So I don't understand like how this connects to free trade when the government is the one that invested massively in
I'm
these
not.
products and services.
I'm
You
not.
know,
I don't. I
like
don't. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know history. I certainly don't know the history of government investment in phones. I don't know. As far as I know,
there's
the
a book called The
iPhone.
Entrepreneurial State.
What?
There's a book about it called The Entrepreneurial State.
I
But like,
don't.
if a company like is
Mhm.
producing an iPhone, the underlying technology would have been created by government spending because governments have more money than an individual private company.
I have no idea. Look, all I'm saying is the iPhone, as far as I know, was. All I'm saying is if you take the iPhone, like if you take the U.S. now, well, you agree about the parents, right? You agree that overprotecting, that there's a limit, there's a balance of protection. You don't want to overprotect your
Right,
children.
but you understand, free trade
Wait,
is not like
wait,
is not like
but you agree.
it's not like protecting a little bit. Like free
Hold,
trade is no protection,
hold on,
right?
hold on.
Like
Wait, hold on. Fine, fine, fine. Wait, I have a message. Look. What I'm saying is you agree on the parenting, that there is a balance of parenting. You don't want to be an overprotective parent, right? You agree on that.
sure, I agree.
Okay. So it's just that. I mean, there is a balance of protection. You certainly don't want to overprotect your local industry. Now, the question is, what is the balance? So with industry, it's not like children. You don't need to. I mean, you need to protect your local industry. Like you need the FBI. If there is actual espionage, then you need the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. You need the government to protect businesses against international crimes or even local crimes. You need the police to protect a
Right.
local business. So you want to protect your businesses, but it's a delicate balance. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to restrict the competition because you want your local businesses to compete on the international stage, and that way your local producers are at the top of their game.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's it. So in terms of tariffs protecting your local business, that's not a good reason. I'm against that. In terms of government collecting taxes from consumption, that's a good strategy.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. It's a good, like, this is good or bad or whatever in an abstract sense, but in real life, there's like a communist dictatorship on the other side of the world, and if they're competing with you, like they're getting better, right? You know,
No,
like, and
no,
you're going to be getting better. So like you have to
no,
decide, like,
no,
is there going to be restrictions on these guys in
no,
some way
no,
so that you have the advantage?
no. Everything you said is wrong. If there is a
I don't know
com
what would be wrong about it, but okay.
No, if there is a communist dictatorship on the other side of the world, they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse and worse. I mean, they started
Well,
that's how they started before before China became. I mean, this I am an expert in. What happened in China? How China became so wealthy? I am an expert in that.
yeah, they became part of the World Trade Commission because the United States invited them in, and then they were uplifted through economic prosperity.
No, 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 no. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. If you invite a country into something, that's not going to change the country at all, as far as I know. That's not.
Well, there's trade agreements, and if they're not part of those trade agreements, then
No.
their trade with those countries is going to be stifled. So I don't understand.
But they weren't. So it's not going to help China. Let's assume China is not producing anything, and it's part of a trade agreement. How is that helping? How is China going to
I have
become?
no idea what that's to do with what we're talking about.
How did China become wealthy? So China used to
Well,
be.
I mean, it's
China.
become wealthier than it was in the past. I don't know that
No,
it's become
no.
wealthy.
China was super duper poor.
Yeah.
An average Chinese used to live on like $1 a day. They used to all starve. They were all starving to death. They were all living in huts. They were all super, super, super duper poor. That
So
was
there was bad
China.
policies from Chairman Mao, right? But yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, exactly. It was communism. So saying that a communist dictatorship is going to become better than us, that is
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And we know a
isn't that,
communist dictatorship was the Soviet Union,
wait, but you
which
said,
launched people into space. Like, so this is just ridiculous.
wait, so
Like, we
you're
know there was
saying,
the Soviet Union. This dominated the space race until like the moon landing.
okay.
So this doesn't make sense that communists can improve.
Yeah, so okay, but did they produce cars?
Yeah, they produce cars in the Soviet Union. Like, if they produce rockets, they can produce cars.
No, I'm not saying if they can, but
They did. They had Russian cars.
yes, did US citizens want to buy Russian or Soviet cars?
No, I don't believe so.
Why?
They didn't want them. There was better options. I don't know.
Right. So
they bought American cars.
Right. So the Soviet cars were inferior to the American cars.
Right? I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. How do you explain that, right? You said a communist dictatorship is going to become
But that's
better.
because of the Industrial Revolution started in the United States, Britain, and Germany. And it didn't start in Russia. So Russia's behind on the Industrial Revolution.
But they didn't. But they were ahead in the moon race or in the space race.
Yeah.
Why?
They just invested more money into it.
Oh, so okay. So it's not about the Industrial Revolution where it started.
I don't know what you mean.
So look, a communist dictatorship could become it could become better than you, sure, in a certain field, but in general, no. In general, the communist dictatorship cannot succeed. In the long run. It will degenerate into exactly what it used to be during Mao's days. China was poor during Mao's days, regardless of where the Industrial Revolution started.
Sure, I agree.
And Russia was poor, or the Soviet Union was poor, regardless of where the Industrial Revolution started.
Right, but like, I mean, if it started in Russia, then obviously they would have become wealthier. Like, I mean,
the Industrial Revolution is not something that happened miraculously.
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
It's not like a virus that happened somewhere. It's not like a rock from space that lands somewhere.
I agree.
And spreads its magic powder in its region. Something caused the Industrial Revolution. Anyway, you can look at North Korea if you want to see what a communist dictatorship is capable of ultimately. Then you can look at North Korea. Compare North Korea, for example, obviously, to South Korea. That's the difference ultimately between a communist dictatorship and basically, a democracy, more or less. So the claim to be afraid of China doing things better than us, in the long run, that's like being afraid of North Korea doing things better than, like North Korea. That's like South Korea being afraid of North Korea of doing things better. Like you would think South Korea needs to protect its local industry from North Korean industry, right? That's even so you would agree.
I'm not understanding here. Like North Korea have nuclear bombs, right?
No,
supposedly.
No, we're talking about but fine, and I agree
we're talking about protectionism, right? That's what we're talking about. If you're going to protect yourself militarily,
yes, I agree.
And you're not going to protect yourself economically,
but
there has to be some. It doesn't have to be a tariff necessarily, but there has to be some form of economic protectionism.
But look, you have North Korea that is a communist dictatorship. According to you, it should be South Korea should be protecting itself. Sorry, South Korea should be protecting its local industry against North Korea's industry.
What industry are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like, what industry does North Korea have
that's the
that
point.
South Korea also has?
So
Like,
why?
we
So
want to
why?
protect South Korea from
Fine,
Chinese
why do you
phone
think?
manufacturers
Why
or
do you
something.
think you said we should protect our local industries? The West should protect its local industries from China because China is a communist dictatorship. You said, that's a quote in the law. You said it will do things better than us because
No,
it's
no. What I'm saying,
no.
no. I'm just saying the Soviet Union did innovate, right? My point is,
Mm-hmm.
is not that. My point is that China already produced like phones, let's say, right? And South Korea also produced phones. Like, China steals, intellectual property and this kind of thing. Okay,
Yes.
and then they use that to like produce products at like a cheaper cost, and they don't have to invest
But you said
in the research and development.
Wait, you said
you have to make them pay for that.
Yes, but you said communist dictatorship. You said we in the West need to protect our local industry because we're competing with a communist dictatorship that will do things better than us. You implied that a communist dictatorship.
If I steal your idea, let's say you put $1 billion into an idea, steal your idea, right? I've saved $1 billion. Like, I've saved so much time and energy and resources stealing the thing, right?
Yes.
And that now I can be kind of like slingshotted forwards. Like, I've got like huge advances. Like, I've got a massive step up building on because I'm standing on your shoulders.
So
'cause you
why
built the
isn't
thing.
North Korea destroying? Like, why isn't North Korea threatening the world with
I
its?
don't know what North Korea has to do with that, because I'm
Wait.
talking about China.
Why?
Like,
Why? You said
because China is
no.
the
You said
threat.
you said communist dictatorship. So go
Yeah,
to
and the other side of the world is China.
Yeah,
right?
but what about North Korea? That's also a communist dictatorship. So why
But they're not
isn't
as productive as China. What
exactly?
about it?
But you said you implied that China, because it's a communist dictatorship, it has an advantage. So I'm saying,
No, I didn't imply that.
Yeah. So why did
No,
you bring
and
up?
I did explain I already explained the advantages that they don't spend the money on R&D because they're stealing intellectual property, so they have that advantage, right?
But
And
I
then
thought, okay, in that, yeah,
there's an advantage with infiltrating,
I
using
agree.
political power to infiltrate and engage in espionage.
Wait, that I agree.
And undermine other governments. But
Wait,
that's the issue, right?
Yeah, that I agree. Yeah, that I agree. I thought something else. I thought you meant that because China is a communist dictatorship, it can pull off miraculous.
No, that would be crazy, right? Like, no. That would be crazy. Yeah, no, I agree that's crazy.
But that is what you implied when you said Soviet Union had innovations, and that's what you meant. The Soviet Union was winning the race, the moon race, the space race. I thought that's what.
Well, no. No, I'm just saying communist countries can innovate, right? They still have markets. Like they're not like fully communist.
Yeah, but in general, communist economies are complete disasters in general. The fact
Yes,
that
I
China,
agree.
the fact that China has done so well economically is because China became basically a free market, and as it was becoming more and more economically free, it was improving its economy more and more. But a couple of years ago, basically around COVID, that changed, and Xi Jinping said that he's actually going back to the system of Marx, and he's been going back.
I agree with all of that.
Right.
I agree with all of that. But my point is, politically, they're not more free. You understand? Like, they still have. Like, it's still a dictatorship, right? It's still like.
Oh, I mean, sure, and
I mean,
yeah.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like, you want to oppose those guys just because they're.
But that's
for political reasons.
But you don't want to protect your local industries from competing with them. You want to protect your local industries from market espionage, from technological espionage, from any criminal activity coming from anywhere, including China. That you want to protect your local industry, and you actually want to protect if the reverse happens and a local industry is criminally negligent against or criminally active against a Chinese firm, then you also want to stop that too. You don't want to cheat either way. So
I don't know about that necessarily, right? Like, I mean,
no,
if they're not going to reciprocate, then fuck those guys, right? Like, that's
no. You want to
ideally what you're saying in principle, yes. Like, of course, you
no.
want
If
to
somebody
have
steals,
rules and everybody obey the rules.
if somebody steals, if somebody steals, you don't want to start stealing. You want to
Generally,
stop.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to stop the steal. You want to stop the theft.
Right. But the issue is that there's going to be something like a legal system where this goes to court and it gets argued, and that's very costly.
What do you mean?
You know, and then the result is they're going to get away with it, right?
Then no.
Like
then,
a lot of people who commit crimes get away with crimes. So
yeah, but I don't think China. Okay, there's an international court, and you can take China to court, and companies can sue China if China did commit a crime and there's evidence. A company can sue China and take China, the Chinese government, to an international court and get retributions, whatever. Anyway, I think we agree on everything at this point. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you should come by my server more. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna go. Amber, are you there?
Yeah, I did.
Did you enjoy the conversation?
Yeah, I'm glad I introduced you to. It seems like it was a good fit.
Oh, for sure. Anyway, I'm gonna go kill myself now. It's been a while.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, good conversation. I'm gonna go. Bye. I'm starving.